And with Riley Blackwell, and we have our tornado watch issued moments ago for parts of northwest and west Alabama. The watch came out just moments ago, and it will be in effect this morning until
10 a.m.
10 o'clock, all right? So, and again, this is round one, but the watch includes in our particular television market Sumter, Greene, Tuscaloosa, Pickens, Walker, Fayette, Lamar, Marion, Winston, Cullman, and in the Tennessee Valley we have Madison, Morgan counties in yellow. So again, this is a tornado watch in effect until 10 a.m. And of course, we're watching one particular supercell of interest that could be moving into western Marion County here pretty soon. And again, you can see it's got the classic supercell look. This has produced damage. It's been somewhat cyclical, but from time to time this has dropped a tornado, and you can see potential for strong winds, if not a tornado, coming into Smithville, Mississippi. And of course, people that are historians know what happened in Smithville April 27, 2011. They had a horrific EF5 tornado. But again, this particular thunderstorm will cross the state line. This is Lamar, this is Marion, this is Franklin. And it will be coming most likely into the western part of Marion County. And again, there's the inflow notch, and if we have a possible tornado, it's right here just to the west of Smithville. And again, that's moving to the northeast. And so, and this has been a fairly long-lived supercell storm. This started to show signs of producing a tornado last night about 11:30, and it's been very persistent. The one good thing about the environment across Alabama, the air is a little more stable here, but still the dynamics are very strong. And so we've got this storm. Let's go up to the Shoals for our friends that are watching in Florence. And again, back in the back, fellas, we are live on the socials, right?
Yes, we're
okay,
good. We're
okay, good. Thank you. So again, we have no TV boundaries, so if you're watching us up here in the Shoals, you've got some noisy thunderstorms coming in from the west, and there's no evidence of these being severe in a classic sense. Remember, you ask 10 different people, what is a severe storm? You'll have 10 different answers. Well, there's an official definition of a severe storm. That is 1-inch diameter hail or larger, or 58-mile-per-hour winds or greater. And so these storms, they're producing heavy rain, a lot of thunder, lightning. I'm sure when the lightning illuminates the clouds, you'll see some CLCs, creepy-looking clouds, but there's no evidence of a tornado, no evidence of these storms at severe limits. Again, this is the Tennessee River. The town of Waterloo is right here, Florence here, River, Shoals, Tuscumbia, Sheffield. So again, just so you'll know, you've got a cluster of storms coming in, but at the moment it's not severe. Let's go down to the south. We've also got some storms coming in toward Pickens County. And you can see these storms that are just south of Columbus in Lowndes County, Mississippi. Those have prompted severe thunderstorm warnings from the Weather Service in Jackson. And those will be crossing over into, in fact, we have storms in progress now in parts of Pickens County here. But these heavier storms will cross into Pickens and ultimately into parts of Lamar counties as well. And they have ramped up in intensity over the past 15 to 20 minutes, prompting a severe thunderstorm warning. But again, at this point, we have no warnings anywhere in the state of Alabama. But Riley, let's pop that tornado watch on one more time. I want to talk to our friends in Birmingham and East Alabama. So notice Birmingham is not in the tornado watch. Anniston, Gadsden, not in the tornado watch. Weiss Lake, Scottsboro, Fort Payne. The air is dry here and stable. And you've been watching us for the past couple of days. For this first round, the concern has always been the western side of the state. And that's the reason the tornado watch is in effect here. And even in West Alabama, the atmosphere is not really prime at this point. It will be later today, but still parameters are certainly sufficient for a few isolated tornadoes early this morning. So again, a tornado watch as far east as Huntsville, Cullman, Jasper, Dora Summerton, Tuscaloosa, Utah, York, and Livingston. The counties in yellow here. The watch, again, not including Birmingham, Jefferson or Shelby counties, not including Anniston, Gadsden, not including Marshall County. You're not in this. And again, it just looks like for round one, there's not that much concern for the eastern half of the state. The concern is over here. But we want to stress for the second round later today, everybody in Alabama, you've got a major threat, a very dangerous threat of perhaps some violent long-track tornadoes this afternoon and tonight. So be aware of that. So let's go back to the radar, and again, we're going to focus obviously on the short term here. And again, we're hoping we get a break in the action 8, 9, 10 o'clock this morning. There should be a lull before the second round kicks in. But again, let's look at our storm here. This thing is pretty wrapped up. And again, you can see inflow notch, potential tornado here. But the velocity product really does not look as impressive as the reflectivity product. And again, this thing has been, the low-level rotation is broad. The reflectivity looks really impressive, but the velocity does not. And this is just one good thing about radar. We often take this for granted. I am so old. I lived in a time where I did this, where we did not have velocity product before Doppler processing, before Doppler radar. Back in the old days, back in the late 70s, in the 80s, we had just reflectivity. That was it. You had to look for shapes. Well, now we can see wind. We can see debris being lofted. The amount of data that we see, it's pretty remarkable. And it's like going from an old fuzzy black and white video to a sharp 1080p color video. So again, right now, the velocity display not looking that impressive. And if it looks like that, the Weather Service in Birmingham will not issue a tornado warning. For those of you watching in Marion County here, of course, understand everybody in Marion County is watching this with great interest. We know that. But again, for now, the low-level circulation is fairly loose. It could tighten right back up. It could do that, but I would imagine if this trend keeps up, the Weather Service will choose to issue a severe thunderstorm warning as opposed to a tornado warning. And I say this all the time. If a tree is going to come under your house, it really doesn't matter if it's tornadic or straight line. You want to be in a safe place. But watch the trends carefully as this crosses the state line soon here. So, again,
James, I want to mention too.
And I was going to say one more thing. Right? It says they're leaning toward a tornado warning downstream for Marion based on the fact that it's cyclical. So, Riley, go ahead.
So, from a technical aspect, the radar is just south. That little circle just southeast of Amory, Mississippi, that little circle where nothing's at, that's the radar site. So this isn't shooting very high up in this storm. So we can pretty easily see that there's not a lot of low-level rotation, but echoing what James says, this is a storm, they're saying it in the National Weather Service chat, where it may not produce anything for a while, but when it does tighten up, it'll be very quickly. Confidence isn't high that it's producing anything right now, but the potential is certainly there for it to produce quickly. And I know when I got in here just after midnight, further off to the west in Yalobusha County and Calhoun County, Mississippi, I mean, this thing looked devastating. It looked violent from a velocity standpoint, but it's just not there right now. But that's just the environment we're in today. It'll cycle up, cycle down, cycle up, cycle down. And that's what we see with supercells. Take a look at these storms down here. There might be a little, these look like just gravity waves or even just shear vectors. But in terms of the eastern side of the state, East Birmingham, we have the mesoanalysis page over here, and we can pretty confidently say there is a significant convective inhibition or a cap overhead East Alabama right now. Doesn't really mean anything for this afternoon, but for the morning rounds, that'll really help keep these storms quiet if you're Birmingham further off to the east. There is still a little bit of a cap in West Alabama, but some of these storms can be strong enough to go right through that cap and break it. And I want to say too, there's basically no effective shear on the eastern side of the state, and that's what a severe thunderstorm warning or a severe thunderstorm or a tornado needs in order to be sustained, is higher levels of shear. And we just don't really have that right now on the eastern side of the state, and that's a good thing. So if you live in mega counties, if you live Clay counties, Etowah, Calhoun counties, you don't really have a lot of support for severe thunderstorms or tornadoes this morning. Of course, that will all change by the afternoon, but we're just going to take this one storm at a time. And really still the primary threat remains West Alabama, west of I-65. If you're in Birmingham, Clanton, Gadsden, Talladega, you're fine. You should be fine for this morning. You know, we can't rule out the chance for maybe a loud thunderstorm throughout the morning or the rest of the morning. But in terms of a significant threat like they've seen in Mississippi, I really don't think the threat is there this morning. And James, we have a new tornado warning for northwestern Marion County. That does not include Hamilton, but it does include Bexar, Scottsville, Hackleburg. So really from Hamilton up I-22 all the way to the state line, Pig Eye. So basically northwestern Marion County, we have a new tornado warning.
Yeah, and again, I think that's the right thing to do. This thunderstorm, and again, at the moment, is not showing strong evidence of producing a tornado, but based on the cyclical long life of this, I think that's probably the right thing to do here. So again, remember, we do not define tornado danger by entire counties. We define tornado danger by small parts of counties. Polygons, respect the polygon. And the polygon that's in effect up here for Marion County is for the northwestern corner of the county. And let's see, did you lose your IFB here, Riley? I have lost mine.
No, I can still hear. I can still hear fine.
Okay. In fact, I know what it is. David, I will fix that myself here in a second. But again, if you're in Hamilton, you're not involved in this, but Hackleburg is. This is the biggest community in the path of the, or in this polygon. So again, I know it's not a fun thing to do. It's 2:47 a.m. on a Saturday morning. But if you are in any of these communities up here, including the city of Hackleburg, we are asking now that you go through your tornado plan. We do not want anyone in a trailer, a mobile home. So this is when you activate that plan we've talked about for days and days. This is where you need to go to a community shelter or a business that is open at this hour that can serve as a shelter. So again, for folks in the northwestern part of Marion County, we encourage no one to be in a mobile home. Obviously, nobody should be driving. Nobody should be in a car. If you are in a site-built home, and by the way, that's Franklin County going under a tornado warning as well. So again, we have now southern Franklin, northwestern Marion County, a tornado warning here. So this applies to Franklin as well. And again, that would include Hodges, which is here, Hackleburg, which is here, Vina, which is here. In a site-built home, you want to be in that small room near the center, no windows, lowest floor, and pop on the helmets. You should have helmets in your safe place. Bicycle helmets are perfect. And again, just stay there till we give you an all clear. And again, it's not exactly a fun thing to do at this hour of the day, but it's the right thing to do. It's the course of least regret. The goal of this, what we have tried to do for the past several days, is to get people ready for this. And the one goal we have, no loss of life. And for every tornado warning, you're going to have to take it seriously. Now, it is true, the really, really big event with this will come later today and tonight, this afternoon and tonight. But understand, this morning event here, you got to take this serious as well. So any tornado warning that you are in, you respect the polygon and get into a safe place. So let's expand this a little. Wanted to show Russellville here. Russellville is right here, not in the polygon. This is US 43. Phil Campbell is right here. And again, Hackleburg is in it. Phil Campbell, we'll technically say you could be in it. It's kind of the border is here. And again, this is the initial entry point into Alabama. The southwest part of Franklin County, the northwest part of Marion County. And again, you've got Hodges, Vina, Phil Campbell, Hackleburg, Scottsville. Any of these communities in here, you want to be in a safe place. The tornado warning does not include Hamilton, Brilliant, Ewan, or Winfield in Marion County. That's the one thing I want to stress here, tell you who's in and also who's out. And if you're in Hamilton, you don't need to do anything. Understand, if you have a county-wide warning system, you might hear the warning, but understand the warning does not include Hamilton, it does not include Ewan, does not include Winfield, does not include Ewan, does not include Brilliant. It's only for this small part of northwest Marion and this part of southwest Franklin counties up here in northwest Alabama for this rotation, which you can see right here. That'll be crossing Interstate 22, and of course that's the major highway that's involved here, and it looks like it'll be crossing Interstate 22, most likely across the state line in Mississippi, then crossing over into Alabama. So that's our storm that's coming into Marion and Franklin. Let's go down to the south and look at the southern storms coming into Pickens just for the fun of it here. And again, there's no evidence of any tornado circulation here, none whatsoever. We'll pop the reflectivity back on. And again, these storms are, they prompted a severe thunderstorm warning here for parts of Lowndes County, Mississippi. And you can see storms are now into Lamar and Pickens counties in West Alabama. And these are looking really sub-severe at this point. Still, having said that, they might try to spin up at some point later this morning, but if you're watching us in Tuscaloosa, obviously you're watching with great interest developments over here. So again, thunder, lightning, and we do have a camera at Reform, Riley, and one of the things we're going to try and do is see if we can show you some of the storms. We understand from social science studies, those that understand behavioral science, you perform a little better if you can see the storm, if you can see a tornado, and understand where we are. That is really hard to do, especially in the middle of the night. It's just dark out there. So is it up and running, Riley?
Yeah, but it's dark right now. But Josh also texted me and said we have a camera in I-22, so maybe give it a few minutes. That storm can get a little closer to the state line. We can get that camera on I-22.
Okay. So again, but I just wanted to point out down here that there's no evidence of any tornado activity in Lamar or Pickens, although you probably have some loud thunder. We'll keep an eye on this, but let's go back up and we'll focus on that one storm that has prompted the tornado warning. So again, we'll take a look at our storm that is currently located. Again, you see the inflow notch here, and the potential tornado would be right here. This is the Alabama-Mississippi state line, and again, that will be crossing over into northwest Marion and southwest Franklin counties. And again, Hackleburg and Phil Campbell, that kind of represents the far end of these polygons. And again, technically, Phil Campbell is not in this polygon. But again, listen, what they went through in 2011 is a course of least regret. You just need to respect it and go ahead and go to a safe place, even though technically you're not in this. So again, this does not include Hamilton. Hamilton is not in the polygon. Hamilton is right here. That's the largest town in Marion County. Like I was there Saturday, this past Saturday, had a really good time. We had a marvelous session there. In fact, did some storm spotting. I did a little miniature storm spotting session in Hamilton. But again, the northwestern part of Marion County, southwestern part of Franklin County, and Riley, the damage reports, it looks like there's been some significant damage in Mississippi with this thing, right?
Yeah, if you guys know about Matt Laubum, I have to believe he's at WTVA in Tupelo, Mississippi. He got video from Grenada City of pretty significant damage. And that's the issue with this particular storm. I mean, it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning. And in case you don't know time, the sun doesn't come out at 3 o'clock in the morning. And another thing about this system, just north of where this inflow notch is, it could be some very large hail. Potentially, they were just talking about it in chat. Pretty large hail, $50 to golf ball sized. And I mean, that could hurt, certainly, if you're outside. But even if the rotation doesn't look as good right now, you still have the inflow notch and very high reflectivity values, which could indicate some large hail is falling. So even if you're in that tornado warning, if that inflow kind of drifts further down to the south near Scottsville or Bexar, if you live in Vina, Atwood, Hodges, I mean, you pelted with hail, and you know that could be pretty significant too. Take one more look at velocity, see if anything's trying to come out of this so far. We don't, but yeah, I'm still not seeing anything on our Reform camera yet, but I assume the lightning's really going to start cranking up probably right here soon. Less than 5 or 10 minutes, I would have to assume.
Yeah, and again, let's kind of do a reset here. We're coming up on 3 a.m. This is James Spann with Riley Blackwell. We are live this morning. This is round one of what's going to be a very long, severe weather day. Round two comes this afternoon and tonight. But again, with round one, understand we have the chance of severe storms for the western side of the state this morning between now and about 8, 9 o'clock. And we are watching storms that have entered parts of Pickens and Lamar counties, a few light rain showers in Tuscaloosa. And again, we've got a few echoes in East Alabama. Again, East Alabama, we're just not concerned. Let's pop the tornado watch on here real quick. If you're in Anniston, if you're in Gadsden, if you're in Fort Payne, if you are in Scottsboro, Talladega, the Birmingham Metro, you are not in the tornado watch. Birmingham east, northeast, and south, the air is relatively dry and relatively stable over here. So again, for the morning round, round one, we're not expecting a big problem for Birmingham at points east and northeast over here. Understand, round two, everybody has a very dangerous threat this afternoon and tonight. But for the morning activity this morning, the concern it's over here in West Alabama. The tornado watch is in effect basically for areas along and west of a line from Huntsville to Cullman, Jasper, Tuscaloosa, Utah, and York and Livingston, the counties in yellow on this map. And if you're in these counties, there could be an isolated tornado or two this morning. And again, sure enough, we have the one storm that is capable of producing a tornado about to cross into Alabama. So let's go back to our storm that is nearing the Alabama-Mississippi state line. And it's got, again, the velocity product, and like Riley says, we've got a really good low-level slice because the Columbus Air Force Base radar, which we're working here, is pretty close to this. And the beam is only probably less than 1,000 feet off the ground around here. So that's a good low-level slice. And despite the fact we're seeing the inflow notch and a pretty good-looking reflectivity signature here, at the moment it's not producing a tornado. So then why did they issue the tornado warning? Because of the history of the storm. This has been a fairly long-lived supercell storm that formed back near Rolling Fork, Mississippi. Now, the western part of Mississippi, it has been very steady state, and from time to time it has dropped a significant tornado in Mississippi, producing some significant damage. Again, the storm will be crossing the state line, which is right here. This is Mississippi and this is Alabama. And that will be moving up into northwest Marion, southwest Franklin. Again, Hodges here, Vina here. Again, you got Phil Campbell right here. This is Red Bay, just north of the polygon. And we'll see how this whole thing behaves. Of course, the problem is it's the middle of the night. If anything happens to be there, it's going to be very hard to see. It will be extremely hard to see. So we rely on radar signatures. And we do certainly rely on some spotters. We have some spotters out and about tonight watching all of this. And again, if you're in Russellville, let me just say, you're not in this polygon. The problem with these siren systems, many of the legacy old school siren systems are countywide. So if you're in Russellville, you might be hearing a siren. You are not in the polygon. You are not in a tornado warning. And again, the reason, Riley, I have no hair, it's sirens. It's just... It is a product of World War I. People think they can hear them, and you can't during a raging storm when you're asleep at 3 in the morning. Oh, you can hear them maybe on a sunny day when they're testing them, but we have a siren dependency problem here. I don't understand that. We've had loss of life over and over and over and over from people thinking they're going to hear some siren in their home or in a business. And, they're very expensive to maintain, and they do serve a purpose. They reach a few people outdoors, and I understand that. But again, if you could just stick with us, we'll tell you who's in and who's out of these tornado warning polygons. And the other problem for people that are over here in the other part of the county that hear a siren, they say, well, nothing happened. Well, you were never in a warning to start with. It gives the illusion of a false alarm. All right, so enough of my preaching on sirens here. So let's go back to the velocity display. And again, you can see that there's not really a tornado signature here. There's not right now. Again, I would imagine the Weather Service will continue the tornado warning for a while longer. And we're kind of in an interesting situation here, and it's a coordination move. The Weather Service in Huntsville handles Franklin County. The Weather Service in Birmingham handles Marion County. And it's good coordination. You can see the polygons match up pretty nicely here. And I would imagine if we go maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes with the radar looking like that, they might just cancel the warning and downgrade it to a severe thunderstorm warning. But again, based on the history of the storm and what's happened in the past, it's probably the right thing to do.
And the fact that they just said in the chat that this particular storm has history of producing damage back in the Mississippi Delta, that's when you get close to getting into Arkansas and Louisiana. So this is a pretty significant storm, and we hope that the environment, and we think that the environment right now in northwest Alabama isn't going to be as sufficient for this storm to be sustained throughout the morning. Of course, that's not the story for the afternoon, but just right now, the environmental conditions, looking at the SPC mesoanalysis page, it's just not looking conducive of having sustained sustained supercells. So that is a good thing. Of course, though, with conditions like we're expecting today, we have to watch all supercells that could be cyclical. They cycle up, they cycle down, they cycle up, they cycle down, because if this thing's trying to spin up, it's going to spin up very quickly. And I just want to take one more look down here, moving into northwestern Pickens and southwestern Lamar County. Still a severe thunderstorm warning. They haven't really talked about that particular warning yet, about extending it, but if they were, once again, probably just going to stay a severe thunderstorm warning. Now, James, honestly, from what you're saying, it'll probably go severe if they downgrade it. And even from the looks of it, I mean, still, hail might be a major threat moving into the southwestern portions of Franklin County, like Vina, Atwood. Right now it's right over Bounds, Crossroads, Oakland. And when you see those very bright pinks on the reflectivity, that could be a good indication of hail. And we've talked about it. We're not looking that high into the storm like sometimes we do when storms are far away from radar. I mean, we're shooting pretty low into this thing. So I definitely would say hail might be a big time concern. And going back to your rant on sirens, Haleyville, somebody said in the comments, Haleyville was hearing sirens, and that's well away from the polygon. And honestly, I don't even think just the track this is on, I don't think Haleyville is going to have an issue with this all. So them hearing sirens, you might start losing a speck or two more hair.
Some of us have no hair left to lose. So it's 3:02. It's Saturday morning, and this is round one of our major severe weather event. The big, intense, widespread problem will come with round two later today and tonight. But understand, all it takes is one. I say that all the time. But with round one, if there's one tornado in the whole state, if that thing comes down your neighborhood, it's a big deal. So again, we're watching a thunderstorm that has become somewhat disorganized, moving into Marion and Franklin counties of northwest Alabama. A lot of thunder, lightning, and like Riley says, we probably have some pretty good hail falling here on the state line, right there in the Franklin, Mississippi county line right here, Franklin County, Alabama. But let's pop back on the velocity, and again, the velocity tells the story, and that there's just no evidence of a tornado at all here at this point. So again, so far so good with this storm as it moves into Alabama, and hopefully, as Riley says, that the environment's a little not quite as ripe as it is back in Mississippi for tornadoes, but still, we certainly could have one this morning over the western side of the state, over northwest Alabama. But again, that's certainly not a tornado signature at this point. So we'll pop on the reflectivity once again, and if the trend continues, this could be, and I don't like the word downgraded, but it could be changed to a severe thunderstorm warning. But I would say that the greatest chance of the larger hail is going to be in this part up here in Franklin County, north of the Marion-Franklin County line. And again, these are going to be noisy. You see 130 lightning strikes in this zone in the past 5 to 10 minutes. That's a lot of lightning. It's going to be loud. Rain will be heavy. You could see some large hail falling. And we could see some gusty straight line winds. Although at the moment we're not seeing any really major evidence of extremely high winds in here. But that could change as the storm moves over into Alabama. And watching all the social channels, not seeing any reports of damage coming in here within the last 5 minutes or so. Most of the damage occurred back in central and western Mississippi with this storm. And again, it kind of flared in a hurry. I mean, that thing went severe about 11 o'clock last night, and it stayed down very consistently all the way from near Rolling Fork, Mississippi, all the way into northwest Alabama. So it's been certainly a supercell thunderstorm by definition, and from time to time it's dropped a tornado, but at the moment we're just not seeing evidence. But still, the suggestion is if you are in one of these two polygons in Franklin or Marion County, stay sheltered. And I know it's not the most pleasant thing in the world, and especially for those of you in mobile homes that have gone to community shelters. Community shelters, you never know who's going to be in there. You got everything from dogs to no telling who, but it's the right thing to do. And again, the point of what we do is to mitigate loss of life. And it's just important to respect these polygons. And again, if the Weather Service continues to see that there's no tornado here. They'll change this to a severe thunderstorm warning, and you might want to change your course of action. But as long as the polygons are still flashing red, you want to be in a safe place. And I will say, as we go through the coverage, from the time you'll see tornado warning polygons flashing purple, that means a confirmed tornado. So there's a little difference in the way the polygons are displayed here. But this, again, just for get your bearings straight, Interstate 22 is right here. That's I-22. The town of Hamilton is right here. There might be some small hail falling down south of Hamilton, but this is northwest Marion, southwest Franklin County. US 43 coming out of Hamilton is right here. Hackleburg is here, and Hackleburg is in the polygon. And for those that don't know, Hackleburg was hit by a horrible, horrible EF5 April 27, 2011. And a lot of folks here have PTSD from that, and I don't blame them. And then right up the road from Hamilton, you got Phil Campbell, which is right here. This is Bear Creek, which is also in Marion County. Bear Creek, you're not in the polygon. And again, technically, Phil Campbell is not. You're close to it. Again, this is US 43 right here. That's Alabama Highway 13 right here that goes from Phil Campbell down to Bear Creek and down to Haleyville. But again, let's go back to our velocity again, Riley, and we're going to take a look at this thing one more time. And again, we're just not seeing any evidence of a tornado at this point, which is a really good thing. The last thing you want is a tornado down at 3:07 a.m. But again, so far so good. And we're watching the chat sessions from the Weather Service in Memphis and the Weather Service in Birmingham. Not seeing any damage here, Riley.
No, but I'm watching the I-22 milepost 3 camera. I think Josh and Beck had that pulled up, and there is a lot of lightning with this system. It's over there on the.
Yeah, let's take it.
Yeah, let's take it full, because I mean, outside of that, I mean, there is some wicked lightning with this system, and probably hail. You know, that looks like it might be a little CLC moving through, just a creepy looking cloud, but. This is looking to the north and west. Probably, if anything was happening, and this is just north of Bexar, it would probably have to look a little bit further to the north. But I mean, the lightning show by itself is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and again, you're seeing some low-hanging scud there. That's not a tornado. That just because it's a low-hanging cloud doesn't mean it's a tornado. Again, that's a sign of what it's looking like right now along Interstate 22. And let's see, getting a few other images here. And I tell you what, we in just a second, not quite this moment, we're going to be pull up.
Hail in Hamilton, according to comments on Facebook 1 minute ago. If you guys are on the Facebook Live in Hamilton, when it's safe, if you could send us the picture of the size of the hail, that would be fantastic, just to give other folks an idea of what we're dealing with.
Yeah, let's look at an image on WEX 05 if we can. And again, this is a shot from Marion County. And you should be able to see WEX 05 in the back. There we go, thank you. And again, I think that's good. We're not seeing any evidence of a tornado on radar. And we get the lightning flashes, and from time to time you'll see these low-hanging clouds, and I just don't believe that is a tornado. But again, that was taken up in Marion County, northwest Marion County. And by the way, Riley, we have one fan here. A furry friend. See, dogs love to watch the weather, so do cats. Although it looks like we have one dog that's gone to sleep down there. We put that guy to sleep. So let's go back to the radar. Again, we're here at 3:10 this morning, and we're watching the velocity, and we just don't see any evidence of a tornado at this point, even though we have tornado warnings in effect. The storm has lost a lot of its organization as it's crossed over into Alabama. Small hail, yes. Thunder, lightning, yes. Heavy rain, yes. Gusty winds, yes. All that. It's a rough wake-up call here for those that have been sleeping. But again, in terms of a tornado, we just don't see that right now. And we'll just see how long the Weather Service chooses to continue the warning. But both the Weather Service in Huntsville has the warning for southwestern Franklin, and the Weather Service in Birmingham has the warning for northwest Marion counties. And again, you can see evidence. We've got some pretty gusty winds and probably some hail falling here. That segment coming in toward Scottsville. And there might be some small hail falling north of Hamilton up here toward Pleasant Ridge in Marion County. But again, the good news at the moment, we just don't see any strong support of a tornado in through here. Let's go down to Lamar County. I want to look at that real quick. Got a report from hail that's falling in Millport. You see the segment right here that's coming through Kennedy. That's some small hail. And again, remember, to be severe, the hail has to be 1 inch in diameter. That's the size of a quarter. And this would be smaller hail, but again, that's coming through Kennedy in the southeastern part of Lamar County. So a heavy rain, thunder, lightning from Vernon south, but there's no warning here, and there's no need for a warning. Remember, be severe, the winds have to be 58 miles per hour or greater, or hail 1 inch in diameter or larger. And these are noisy, obnoxious, interruptive storms here, but they're not technically severe in southern Lamar County. But again, most likely some small hail is falling here. And again, we have reports of some small hail in Millport. Let's go down to Pickens while we're here. We'll look at Pickens County while we keep going down to the south. And it's the same thing. We've got some heavy rain falling south of US 82. This is US 82 right here. Gordo, Reform, Cold Fire, Ethelsville, heavier ranges south of US 82. But again, nothing severe. There is a severe thunderstorm warning across the line over here for Lowndes County, Mississippi. But again, those storms are not that impressive at the moment, the radar presentation. So let's go back up north. And again, we're focusing on that one spot because this is the one spot where there's a tornado warning. And again, this is for northwest Marion, southwest Franklin counties. So that's the reflectivity. And again, we most likely have hail falling here in western Marion County near Scottsville, up into Franklin County just south of Vina. Maybe some hail falling here north of Hamilton. But let's go to the velocity display, which tells the story. It's not seeing anything.
No, you can see the brighter reds and the darker reds. That could be an indication of shear, but in terms of rotation, not seeing the greens and the reds together, that's a good thing. That means we're still pretty close to this radar site. We're not seeing any low to mid-level rotation. So I think the warning technically expires at 3:45, but I think at least looking right now, we can pretty much guarantee that it's not going to go to 3:45, but the conditions remain the same. Hail, heavy rain, frequent lightning, and of course all that can be an issue, and even the winds by themselves don't look that significant, but on a saturated ground, it doesn't take a 58 mile per hour gust to knock over a tree if the ground is saturated with heavy rain, and it doesn't take a lot to get hit in the head by hail and have it hurt either.
Yeah, let's go to WEX 05 if we can. This is going to be some of the video coming from near Hamilton. And again, that's what we've got, Riley. That's an example of the hail that's falling with this storm. And it looks to be maybe a little smaller than 1 inch in diameter. But again, that is from Marion County, and we've had reports of similar size hail down into Lamar County as well. So just wanted to show that. So let's go back to the radar. We're at 3:14, and the reason we are here is the fact that we have a tornado warning that is in effect for northwest Marion County and southwest Franklin County, up in the northwestern part of Alabama. And this is a supercell storm that originated back in western Mississippi earlier tonight, last night I should say, about 11 o'clock, and it did drop a couple of tornadoes in Mississippi, producing some significant damage in spots. And just out of respect for the history of the storm, the Weather Service offices in Huntsville and Birmingham, they've opted to issue tornado warnings here. But so far, the storm has not produced a tornado in Alabama, which is good. But again, where you see the shades of purple here, that's where small hail is falling. And you saw the video earlier. The video is actually from this particular segment right here. And of course, also some heavy rain as well. But again, let's pop back on the velocity display and see what that looks like. And again, the good news at this point, we just don't see any evidence of a tornado here. So we'll see how long the Weather Service holds on to this. Let's go back to our tornado watch if we can. I wanted to show kind of a big picture. A lot of folks are just joining us early this morning. And again, this is round one of a 2-round severe weather event. In the second round, that will be much more widespread, much more intense this afternoon and tonight. That's when there could be some violent, long-track tornadoes. This is serious business. I don't use a lot of strong verbiage and language here, but from time to time we have to do that. But again, for round one, the main issue, northwest and west central Alabama. If you are over here in East Alabama, we just don't expect any problems with round one this morning. Again, Fort Payne, Anniston, Gadsden, Scottsboro, Ashland, Alexander City, Roanoke, Sylacauga, Rockford, Montgomery. The air is stable and drier over here. So just not expecting any severe storms. The problem where you see the tornado watch in effect, the counties in yellow. We should mention the Birmingham Metro is not in this tornado watch, and I think that's the right call. The Weather Service in Birmingham, which is down at the Shelby County Airport, they launched a balloon. They got a sounding about midnight, and it was pretty dry and relatively stable. The better conditions for severe weather a little west of Birmingham. So again, the tornado watch in effect for Huntsville, Cullman, Jasper, Tuscaloosa, Utah, York, Livingston, and points west. And also the watch in effect for parts of Mississippi. And so far, the only tornado warning in effect around here for Alabama or Mississippi, it's that for that one spot over northwest Marion and southwest Franklin counties. So let's go back into that area. We'll take a look at our storm. And thankfully, this has not produced a tornado in Alabama.
And it looks like we have a new severe thunderstorming for basically all of Marion County. That's new.
And they're canceling the tornado warning.
Okay, that's great news.
Yeah, that's clearly the right thing to do. So what the Weather Service is doing, this warning's about to go away, the tornado warning, and it's being replaced by a severe thunderstorm warning for a pretty good chunk of Marion County, not all of Marion County, basically the northern part. Again, the severe thunderstorm warning does not include Guin or Winfield or Brilliant. It is for the northern part of Marion County, and again, you can see the line segment extends back into Mississippi, and that line segment comes in through northern Marion County. So again, the Weather Service is in the process. It's canceled right now. Now, Huntsville, there it goes, so it's gone. And Huntsville, they're going to keep the warning in effect here. In fact, we're on the Weather Service chat is a godsend. Thanks to Ken Graham. Ken's a good friend of mine. Ken is the director of the National Weather Service, and when he came in, the first thing he did was to upgrade the Weather Service chat. We're using Slack, and it's so much better. But again, the Weather Service in Huntsville, same thing. They're going to cancel the tornado warning and issue a severe thunderstorm warning. And also another concern, it's flooding here. There could be some, we might have some flooding problems. The rain rates are just tremendous up here in Franklin and Marion. So in a moment, you're going to see this warning go away, and this warning will be replaced by a severe thunderstorm warning. Same thing that the Birmingham office is doing. So the good news, if you're in Phil Campbell, Vina, Hodges, you're going out of a tornado warning, and basically you're out now, and you'll see it reflected here on the graphics in just a moment. So we now have severe thunderstorm warnings for a pretty good chunk of Franklin County and Marion County, and that there's no evidence of a tornado, but there is evidence of maybe some strong winds and maybe some large hail. I would suggest, like Riley, you're pointing out here, we got some pretty good hail cores here.
Yeah, and that's what the National Weather Service of Birmingham chat mentioned, that they're primarily warning this for several hail cores. You can see near Bryn, moving back into northwestern Marion County as well. Scottsville, we got more potential hail cores moving in, and it didn't look significant, but it doesn't take much for a convective pulse to throw those hailstones higher in the thunderstorm and make them a little bit bigger. But hail is the biggest issue right now. People in Facebook comments, I'm sorry about your new Camaro you just bought, but they are primarily warning this for hail instead of a tornado or wind, which I guess you could take the good with the bad, because not everybody's getting hail, but those who are, it can be still pretty destructive, but still no evidence of any rotation at all.
Yeah, exactly. So again, the tornado warnings are off the board, which is a good thing. And again, I know technically you're still seeing a red flashing tornado warning polygon for Franklin, but again, the Weather Service in Huntsville has told us that they're canceling that and replacing it with a severe thunderstorm warning. But again, you can see some pretty hot spots in here where most likely we are seeing some large hail, 1 inch in diameter or greater. And again, the same thing up here in Franklin County as well. So large hail, strong gusty winds, but I think the warnings are mainly indicative of large hail here. I'm not seeing evidence of any surface wind gust up to 58 miles an hour. That's the severe criteria. The wind velocities just don't look that impressive at this point. It's hail and also, again, heavy rain. And we should mention, too, that we do have a flash flood watch for this part of Alabama through tonight, as we could see rain amounts in some spots exceeding 3 inches. The rain rates are just tremendous now in the western part of Franklin County and parts of Marion County as well. So let's expand this out a little bit. I want to show the warning, the severe thunderstorm warning for Franklin County up and through here. So there's our two severe thunderstorm warnings. The warning for Franklin County covers most of the entire county. This does include Russellville, Phil Campbell, and again, this is a severe thunderstorm warning. So again, you can come out of your tornado safe place now. For everybody in northwest Alabama, there are no tornado warnings for any part of Alabama. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for most of Franklin and the northern part of Marion counties. And the main concern, the possibility of large hail. We're not seeing any really strong, super strong winds. We're not seeing any reports of winds coming in from the socials here. So that's a good thing, and certainly no evidence of a tornado. The Weather Service watched this supercell storm produce some damage in Mississippi, apparently tornado damage, but it's crossed over into an environment that's not quite as favorable for tornadoes in Alabama. We still could have a tornado. Understand that's possible this morning, but again, just based on radar trends, that's the situation. So again, we have severe thunderstorm warnings now for most of Franklin, the northern part of Marion counties for the possibility of large hail. Let's go down south. We'll take a look at our storms down in Lamar. And I want to stress there are no other warnings. Fayette, you're getting just heavy rain right now. It's pouring here. In Fayette, you got thunder, lightning. You might have a little touch of small hail. But the storms in Lamar and Fayette and Pickens counties are not severe by classic definition. Classic definition, 58 mile per hour winds, 1 inch hail. I know they're loud. It's pouring rain, but you can't issue warnings for just a storm where it's loud and it's pouring rain. Every storm is loud and it pours rain, basically. And the storms extend back. Let's kind of expand this out a little farther, Riley. I want to show maybe a little bigger view, and we can include Tuscaloosa in this thing. Tuscaloosa's quiet. And again, you can see other storms back into parts of Mississippi that are not severe, which is good. Let's go down to Philadelphia. This storm near Philadelphia, Mississippi. Weather Service posting a severe thunderstorm warning down here. It doesn't look tornadic at this point. That's probably going to wind up in Pickens County. But again, what you see in here in eastern Mississippi, it just looks like junk convection, not especially organized, which is great. That's what you want to see. And again, no evidence of a tornado. So we have no tornado warnings in any part of Mississippi or Alabama as of 3:24 this morning. So I don't know if we can pull up the round 2 graphic, Riley. It's in the evening show set. I don't know which set you're in here.
Yeah.
But I wanted to just quickly give you, let's have a little fireside chat, thank you, about round 2. So this is the updated day 1 outlook, I do believe. And this is a rare high risk. Level 5 out of 5. And the shade's in purple here. And I want to stress that for all the other parts of Alabama, you're in a level 4 out of 5. But this is the second round, and again, the window opens up about 11 o'clock this morning until midnight tonight. And the conditions will be much more favorable for more widespread supercell storms and the possibility of some intense long-track tornadoes, EF3 or higher. The last time we had a high-risk day was on March 25th of 2021. On that day, we had 10 tornadoes, 3 long-track EF3s. One of those hit my house. That was a rough day. We had 6 people that died that day near Ohatchee. And again, I'm not saying the exact same thing will happen today. We never know what the atmosphere produces, but the conditions are just screaming for a major, dangerous, severe weather event this afternoon and tonight. It will be much more intense than what we had this morning. Round 1, the iffy round over West Alabama. Round 2 for the entire state this afternoon and tonight. So during that big 12, 13-hour window, you've got to hear the warnings, and you can help us. You can really help us by calling or texting people that are in tornado warning polygons that you know, friends, loved ones. Because so many people, they're busy. They don't pay attention to weather. I don't blame them. We're all busy. There's only so many things we can do in a day. And some folks don't even know about this. But you might let your friends later, maybe not at 3:26 a.m., but later this morning, let them know that it's going to be a dangerous situation this afternoon and tonight. And a lot of folks don't have a weather radio, and they don't just pay attention. But you can call them or text them. But our goal is to get through the next 24 hours with no loss of life. That's it, number one goal. And you can play a big role in that, and you can literally be a hero by helping us. Because a lot of folks are not going to watch us. They're going to be doing things, and they're busy on a Saturday. And this is, for a lot of folks, it's spring break. For a lot of folks, they're trying to get to places. There's so much going on here. I have over 8,000, and this is no exaggeration, 8,000 messages from people asking advice. And obviously, I can't respond to everybody because we have to focus on reaching the masses like this. But people are traveling. It's spring break. They have kids here. They're trying to get back to school or leaving school. And again, it's a complex time to have a situation like this. But this is mid-March. This is when this stuff happens. So again, a high risk for most of the state, level 5 out of 5. The window for the second round opening up late this morning, about 11 o'clock through midnight tonight. So let's go back to the current radar. We'll focus on round 1, which is why we're here. And the good news, we have no tornado warnings, none, 0. Here's the big picture. Got a little light rain in East Alabama, but the heavier storms are up here in the western side of the state. And again, you can see from Franklin, Marion counties right down through Fayette and Lamar counties. And again, looking back into Mississippi, I say it's junk convection because it is. It looks like it's outflow dominant, and we just don't see any big problems back in here, which is a good thing. One of the fears I had, and you're always thinking of things that can go wrong, was the morning event being more significant than we had forecast. And that's happened before. We've had some pre-dawn events that have been much more significant than forecast. But so far, this has been pretty tame for Alabama, and we hope it stays that way. And understand, we've got a lot of work to do. It's going to be an extremely busy afternoon and evening. And poor O'Reilly here, he's no sleep. He's going to go out in the chaser and chase some storms out in the field. And again, we were hoping that the morning event would not be that intense, and so far that's been the case. But again, Northwest Alabama, there's a tornado watch in effect. And again, we are close to having a big issue here. But again, one thing I noticed, Riley, Nathan down at the Weather Service, he's showing these new Warn on Forecast graphics, which is a really interesting platform for getting some really good data during severe weather events. But the axis of better instability remains over Mississippi. And but the axis has been holding pretty steady through the night. And the general expectation is that the tornado threat just will have a really hard time getting into Alabama unless the instability axis shifts, and we haven't seen much signs of that so far this morning. So again, we're hoping that the morning will stay these storms will stay relatively well behaved, I'll put it that way. So again, let's go back up into Franklin and Marion. We have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings, and again, we stress, as of 3:30 a.m., 3:29, we have no active tornado warnings in Mississippi or Alabama. Velocity, no tornadoes here. Back on the reflectivity, the reason for the warnings, the possibility of some large hail, Bear Creek. There might be some hail falling right there. You see the spot right there. Probably some spots of hail falling in parts of Franklin County as well. I don't see any really strong wind gusts in here in terms of straight line winds. And again, looking at the socials, Riley, I've just not seen any damage here in the last 30 minutes, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I'm on the Facebook Live. I'm looking at our comments, and several people have been talking about hail near Haleyville, Phil Campbell, Russellville, but not significant hail, and that is a good thing. But I also haven't seen anything about any damage. So if you have any damage, that'd be great to know. But looking at a radar standpoint, I'm not really seeing any signs that we've had any damage, which of course is good. And
Yeah, let's go to Wexo 5 if we can, and take that full screen. This is some video from Sulligent in Lamar County, and it's interesting. Not quite sure when it was taken, but again, it looks like this was taken maybe a little earlier this morning. But notice that intense lightning coming into Lamar County, and again, we got fire in the sky. Some of these storms, you can probably see them from many miles away. But again, that was taken in Sulligent earlier this morning. And if you missed it, this is some of the hail that was coming down in Marion County earlier this morning. And looking at that, it looks like it's probably a little smaller than 1 inch in diameter, maybe dime size, which is not quite at the severe limits. But again, that's what's happening up in northwest Alabama. So let's go back to the radar as we are now past 3:30 a.m., well past the midnight hour on a Saturday morning. The heavier storms are in the far, and again, we note the Weather Service in Birmingham has trimmed the severe thunderstorm warning for Marion County. They've really taken out Hamilton here, so now it's a fairly small segment of northern Marion County. And again, the concern mainly it's for hail in here. And we're still seeing these inflow notches in here from time to time, but the low levels, there's no evidence of any circulation, none. So we're not concerned about tornadoes at this point. The main concern in terms of severe, that would be large hail. And there's really no sign of any super strong straight line winds. And typically, if we've got some strong straight line winds, I will know about it real quick from those that report back to us. And again, we're always thankful for everybody that helps us. And we do have a team of sky watchers. In fact, one of our sky watchers reporting pea-sized hail in Bear Creek, which is in Marion County. And again, pea-sized hail is not severe, but it's still, it gets your attention, I'll put it that way. So pea-sized hail in Bear Creek, and all the other reports we're seeing, just mainly lightning, heavy rain, and no sign of any wind damage at this point. Looking at some more videos that are coming in here, and again, it's mostly heavy rain and small hail that we're seeing so far. In fact, let's go to Wexo 5 if we can. This is going to be, wow, that's interesting. That's somebody driving, I think, along Interstate 22 on the passenger side. Looks like the video's a little sideways there, but again, you can see the lightning showing up there. So we'll go back to the radar here. It's hard at night when you're sitting in a passenger seat, trying to get the phone oriented the right way. But again, obviously a lot of lightning, 156 lightning strikes in this zone in the past 10 minutes. So with a lot of fire in the sky, the possibility of some pretty decent-sized hail. So severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for Franklin County. This does include Russellville, Phil Campbell, this US 43 here. And again, for Marion County, this includes Bear Creek and Hackleburg, Scottsville, the northern part. They've taken out Hamilton, Winfield, Ewan, and Brilliant because this line segment, the line segment that prompted these warnings, it will be passing north of those cities. And the other thing, too, you've got to be a little concerned about flooding, in that there is a pretty real chance that we might have some flash flooding issues along the way. And I'll say getting rains like this early, and then with the second round coming in later today, before the day is over, we certainly could possibly see some flooding issues along the way here. So just something to think about. Now let's go back to Wexo 5 real quick. Got that video flipped, and we'll take a look at this. Again, this is coming down Interstate 22. And again, this is looking right into that thunderstorm complex, and it's quite the lightning show. And I will say, I'm afraid of one thing when it comes to weather, and it's lightning. But if you're a distance away and you're in a safe place like a car, it's awfully cool to watch. My favorite thing to do is to watch lightning from the beach, from a balcony or some safe place, watching those Gulf Coast storms. But that's what it looks like rolling down Interstate 22 early this morning with those big storms up in Marion County in northwest Alabama. All right, let's go back to the radar. We have no tornado warnings to report, which is good. And again, we'll stay with this for a while longer. Typically, we do wall-to-wall coverage when we have tornado warnings, and we have no tornado warnings in effect. And the one thing that we will not do is that we don't want to get totally burned out on the morning event because we have a very, very long day ahead. We have what could be a really violent type situation for the state this afternoon and tonight. And we've got to be at the absolute top of our game. Of course, I don't sleep anyway. People say, when do you ever sleep? And the answer is no. The last time I slept was in 1973, I think, for any decent amount of time. I was in high school, and in 1973, I started working at a radio station before school and after school and started sleeping about 3 hours a night, and that's been my life, but your body just gets used to it. So the lack of sleep doesn't bother me at all, but we'll catch catnap at some point this morning. So a thunderstorm that was a supercell storm coming into Alabama from Mississippi. This thing produced a couple of tornadoes in Mississippi, but it just really fizzled. And Riley, you got nothing.
No, nothing at all. But if we can real quick, can we take the sky cam full? We're in Jasper, look to the west. Jasper's dry. I mean, completely dry, but you're looking well off in the distance to the west, and you can see a pretty good bit of lightning. That's the storm moving through parts of Fayette County right now. No active warning for Fayette. Maybe some very small hail, but a lot of lightning near Fowler's Crossroads, Bobo, Glen Allen, and the extreme northern portions of Fayette County. But really, that's all we're seeing right now, and the storm's not producing hail. It's frequent lightning. And remember, this is in Jasper, looking to the west towards Fayette County. And, I mean, like you said, James, it's a fire in the sky.
Indeed. All right, so I tell you what, let's... what we're going to do here is take a look at WEX 05. There's your fire in the sky. Huh, wow.
Oh.
Like I say, I'm not afraid of tornadoes. We know they're coming. I know what to do. Not afraid of hurricanes. Know they're coming. We know what to do. But that was taken up at Leeton up in northwest Alabama. So let's see. This is going to be some video, and hang on. I know it looks dark here, but I promise we got some. Yeah, there we go. Often when you play videos at night, you'll see darkness. All of a sudden, you get the lightning show here, and this is a very common scene across the northwestern part of the state. And again, the lightning can be seen from quite a distance away. I would imagine even if you're in Tuscaloosa, you can look back and see the lightning in Marion and Fayette counties, and if you're in the Shoals, you can look down and see the lightning in parts of Franklin County. Some of these storms are probably 40, 50,000 feet tall. Again, this is more lightning off in the distance, lighting up the Alabama sky this morning. But lightning is not part of the severe criteria. It's not. Understand that the criteria does not involve heavy rain, weird clouds, lightning. It involves hail and high wind, and that's it. But goodness, that's quite the light show going on in the Alabama sky tonight. So we'll go back to the radar.
Looks like we have a new severe thunderstorm warning for a storm right over Aliceville, north of Benevola. It does include Reform, Gordo, and northwestern Tuscaloosa County. That's a new warning that just popped.
Okay, so again, this is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect now. You see large hail here. That's very large hail falling just to the southeast of Carrollton. And that hail core is going to be coming up toward US 82 in Gordo, which is right here, and then ultimately into extreme northwest Tuscaloosa County. This is US 43 right here. Alabama Highway 171 is right up in here. New Lexington, Brownville. And again, the concern, it's large hail. There's no evidence of a tornado here, none. But large hail, absolutely. And again, tremendous amounts of lightning. And so, again, I don't know if we can get that Reform camera pointed down toward that thing, Riley. It'd be really interesting to see the cameras at Reform Elementary School. And if we can point that camera to the south, it might give us a pretty fascinating lightning view here. But there's pretty good evidence we have very large hail falling now southeast of Carrollton. This is in southeastern Pickens County. And again, this is the Sipsey River right here. That represents the boundary between Pickens and Greene counties. This is the Tuscaloosa County line right here. That's some huge hail. That could be, it might be softball-sized hail. And that's coming right up toward the US 82 corridor, and that will affect Gordo, which is right here. And if it holds together, it's going to come up into northwestern Tuscaloosa County. This does not include the city of Tuscaloosa. And again, this is not a tornado warning. There is zero evidence of any tornado activity here. It's a hailer. So again, a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for eastern Pickens and the northwestern corner of Tuscaloosa counties until 4:30. And we'll just see how long this happens to hold up. And I would imagine that's some pretty nasty hail. Riley, that might be the largest hail we've seen so far this morning.
Yeah, we have. It looks like we have some people watching from Aliceville. Of course, wait till it's safe. But if we can get some videos, this is near Olney, Benevola, Olney Road that goes from Benevola to Aliceville. If you get on Aliceville and go towards Beasley, towards Carrollton on 17, if you live anywhere around there, you might get some hail. And I mean, that's easily the best. I mean, and it looks like reflectivity just got a little more intense with the.
Let's take WEX 05 real quick. This is going to be some hail that is in Fayette County, not the storm in Pickens. This is from Fayette County, and that's smaller hail. Again, the storms in Lamar and Fayette, we've got the smaller hail. But let's go back to the radar, and again, you can see that intense hail core. This is VIL, right? Vertical Integrated Liquid. The TV consultants come up with these names like this in the weather business. This is VIL, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Vertical Integrated Liquid.
Actually, excuse me, that's a depolarization hail product.
Okay,
But
so this is not VIL. Okay, so this is VIL. But when you start to see VILs getting up towards 50 and 60 kilograms per cubic meter, that's a pretty large hail. So let's go back to the reflectivity, which will be, yeah, look at that. That might be Toyota-sized hail. I mean, that's pretty large stuff, and that could be damaging. I mean, if your car is outside, that could crack somebody's windshield, and that could do some damage to siding and some damage to houses here on a serious note. So just be aware, if you're in Gordo, that hail core is coming right up toward you. And if you need to pull the car in a carport or get it under some kind of shelter, you might want to consider doing that, and that's some pretty large hail that is falling here.
And we might, hey Josh, do we have a Gordo traffic camera along Highway 82? Because if maybe give it about, we have a reform camera. Okay.
But our elementary school camera's not showing the Skycam?
Not a lot of lightning showing up right
Okay.
now.
Okay. So we are at 3:43. We're watching multiple storms in progress across Alabama this morning. And I want to stress, if you're just waking up, no tornado warnings anywhere in Alabama or Mississippi. We've got severe thunderstorm warnings for Franklin County, northern Marion County, and for parts of Pickens and northwestern Tuscaloosa counties. And people, I know what you're thinking. If you're watching us up here in Hubbardville, you're thinking, man, how come we're not under a warning? There's a very, very strict definition for a severe thunderstorm warning. The hail's got to be 1 inch in diameter. That's a quarter size, or the winds have to be 58 miles an hour. And that's not the case in Fayette, Walker, Lamar counties. I know it's obnoxious, it's loud, it's pouring rain, you've got some small hail, but the storms are not severe by classic definition. And up in here, we probably have some larger hail in Franklin County as well.
Let me pop that over to Columbus. This is looking at Birmingham.
You can see the, again, this is a lower slice at this, and this is more realistic. More than likely, it's just small hail falling in Franklin. Again, Russellville, probably some small hail. But again, no evidence of a tornado here. But that line segment continues coming through Franklin County. So let's go back to our storm that is coming up on Gordo in Pickens County that has prompted a severe thunderstorm warning down here. And we'll pop Birmingham back on. And these storms are moving at a pretty good clip. I'd say these, let's see what the Weather Service has in their warning. The storms are moving to the east at 45. Ooh. And actually, that's the Marion County warning. Let me check the, let's see, moving at 60. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So this storm is moving northeast at 60 miles per hour. 60 miles per hour, and it's basically coming into Gordo right now. This is going to fly through here. And again, that's Highway 171, Brownville here. This is northern Tuscaloosa County, the road up to Fayette from Northport. And then US 43 is over here. This is Samantha. And this warning includes the Highway 171 stretch north of Northport, between Northport and the Fayette County line. But most likely some really large hail is coming right up on Gordo, the US 82, which is right here. This is the Tuscaloosa County line. No tornado at all. This is hail. Large hail that is falling in this storm.
And we do have a Gordo camera. I would say maybe 5-10 minutes, and we might start seeing those Toyotas falling out of the sky you were mentioning.
All right. Again, we thank everybody on the socials for sending us video. Let's take WEX 05 if we can. And again, this is going to be some of the, wow, it's pretty impressive. It's almost a case where I would almost have to just stop and watch this if it was me. Now, from lightning, you're good in a car. That's the one good thing about lightning. Go into a car, you're fine. Go into a truck, you're fine. Here's some more video from that part of the state. And again, the gradient winds are pretty strong, and we probably have some hail falling. I think that's what's going on here, is that we've got some small hail that happens to be falling, and obviously a whole lot of lightning going on there. There's some of the small hail in Fayette County. And again, that's more fire in the sky from earlier this morning from the storms up in northwest Alabama. And again, let's let this roll. I know we were showing black here, but you'll see it in a minute. That's what it looks like through the northwestern part of the state. But again, this solid hail core is coming right on top of Gordo. And again, we might see hail easily larger than 1 inch in diameter. That's larger than the size of a quarter. And we'll show a little more lightning video. We'll go back to the radar in just a second, but it's been quite the sky show for people in the western part of Alabama. And by the way, if you're in East Alabama, we do not expect any severe storms this morning for you. Your problems later today. In fact, the whole state with a major, dangerous, severe weather threat this afternoon and tonight. That's round 2. We're working round 1 this morning. So let's go back to our radar at 3:48. We are 12 minutes away from 4 o'clock. We have a hail-producing storm moving into Gordo in Pickens County, US 82. That'll be crossing into northwest Tuscaloosa County. And again, we stress this polygon does not include the city of Tuscaloosa. It includes the northwest part of Tuscaloosa County. US 43 is here, Samantha here, Northside High School. Wyndham Springs, that's Highway 69 over here. And again, that'll be crossing Highway 170. And if it holds together, it could move up into parts of Fayette County. We'll see if that happens. And other storms are producing smaller hail in West Alabama. But it just looks like the big instability axis this morning is holding over in Mississippi, and that's perhaps going to save us from major tornadoes this morning. Now, the air will be very unstable later today and tonight, and with tremendous amounts of dynamics, we could see some really rough tornadoes this afternoon and tonight. So my fear is that people are thinking, well, this is no big deal. I thought there were going to be some horrible tornadoes. The concern, it's not round 1. The big concern, it's round 2 this afternoon and tonight. So if we wind up with no tornadoes this morning, we're just blessed. But we've got to get through the big part of this event, which comes later. And that window for round 2 opens up at about 11 o'clock this morning. But again, the concern, very large hail on US 82 at Gordo, moving up into northwest Tuscaloosa County. Let's check Franklin County real quick. We like to bounce back and forth between the various storms that we are working.
Let me go to Columbus, and then there we go. Yeah, still pretty high reflectivity. Reports in the comments of small hail in Russellville. And, I mean, that's what most of these storms have been this morning. That's one thing that drier air can do is produce some hail that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. So again, I'm going through all the social reports. So let's go to WEX 05 and see what we've got here. Oh, yeah, more lightning. Again, this coming from the northwestern part of the state. Looks like this might be some hail falling here. That's pretty good sized rocks coming down there. That looks to be almost 1 inch in diameter. And again, let me tell you what, that can be a rude wake-up call. when those things are pounding on your roof. I can imagine having a tin roof with that type of hail falling. And again, this is what we're seeing across much of northwest Alabama with these storms early this morning. And again, this is some of the video showing that tremendous lightning display in the sky tonight. Wow. But again, the news, I have no tornado warnings. That's great. So let's go back to the radar. We are live at 3:51. This is Franklin County. And again, Russellville here. This is US 43. Really heavy rain falling on top of US 43. The better chance of hail, it's down here toward Hodges in areas west of US 43. But this was a supercell storm through Mississippi that dropped a couple of tornadoes. And initially, as this moved into Alabama, we had tornado warnings in effect for parts of Franklin and Marion counties, but now it's a hailer. Now let's look at our new warning here, Riley. Let's expand this out and take a look at our new polygon up here. This is going to be an extension of the severe thunderstorm warning. This will include the northern part of Lawrence County, basically from Moulton north. This will include the far eastern part of Colbert County, the far eastern part of Lauderdale County, and parts of Limestone County. Basically in that zone from Russellville to Athens. And again, we stress this is a severe thunderstorm warning. This is not a tornado warning. The concern, it's this storm that's over Franklin County that is producing some pretty good sized hail, and it might produce some decent wind gusts. We've not seen real strong evidence of that. But just based on the history, the Weather Service in Huntsville thinks that that's the right course, is to stretch out this severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning, up into Limestone, northern Lawrence, eastern Colbert, eastern Lauderdale counties. The warning does not include the shoals. Florence, Sheffield, Tuscumbia, Muscle Shoals. This is going to stay south of you. I know you got rain, some thunder and lightning, but again, the concern, it's this right there. And again, that'll be moving up in that direction. So severe thunderstorm warnings, and I'll say for Marion County, really the bulk of this thing is now staying into Franklin. Technically, we've still got a warning for a little part of northern Marion here, but it's mainly a Franklin County problem. And again, it's going to stretch on out through northern Lawrence, up into Limestone, kind of clipping the eastern part of Colbert and Lauderdale counties up in North Alabama. The Tennessee River is right here. So again, Killen is about right here. And you've got Athens here, Decatur down here. This does not include Morgan, by the way. Well, I guess technically it might clip one small part of Morgan County, but it's mainly northern Lawrence, Limestone, eastern Lauderdale, eastern Colbert counties once the storm leaves Franklin County. Let's go down to the south. We'll take a look at Winston and Walker. And again, if you're in places like Carbon Hill, you probably got some hail going on down here. This is a little hail shaft that is located along Interstate 22, and this is probably smaller hail. And the same thing for near Eldridge, the old US 78 here, then curving down toward Berry and Fayette County and Hubbardsville. Small hail. And I think the Weather Service officers are doing a good job in Birmingham of, the thing is, if you're going to issue warnings, you need a severe storm. You have to have large hail or damaging winds, and they're doing a good job of kind of keeping their finger off the button. Let's see here.
Take a look.
I saw a message that said this is Gordo, and I saw a ruler that had 5 inches. And I thought 5 inches of hail, and I thought, no, it was an old picture of a snowstorm from a few years ago. That's I'm thinking, whoa, have we missed the boat here? But that was several years ago. But we certainly do know that we do have a lot of hail falling in that storm in around Gordo and Pickens County. I'm loading up a few more videos. In fact, here's a video just in of hail in Gordo. So this will give us an idea of the size. So let's take WEX 05, and this is Gordo right now. Isn't this great? This is a dream to me. We can get viewer video in an instant with these storms, where we could only dream of this years ago. But this is what it looks like in Gordo. And again, that's fairly small. That's manageable. That's not 1 inch in diameter, but that might not be in the main hail core of that storm. But again, that was taken in Gordo and Pickens County here in the last few minutes. Here's some more videos that are just in tonight. And this is, I figured that was going to be a lightning video. Often when they start black, you know it's going to be a pretty good lightning display. And you can see this lightning from all over the northern and western part of the state, even if you're not directly under a storm, because these things are so tall. Here's some more video, and again, fire in the sky, thunder, lightning, hail. The winds don't seem that bad with these storms. The straight line winds, I've not seen any reports of any kind of damage. But again, all these videos taken this evening. So back to the radar. This is a hail core that is now in northwest Tuscaloosa County, coming up on Highway 171. And again, Moores Bridge is here, Brownville here, the Fayette County line is here, and that'll be zipping up into perhaps Fayette and maybe Walker counties shortly. But again, that's a severe thunderstorm warning. This is not going to affect the city of Tuscaloosa. This is affecting the northwestern part of Tuscaloosa County. Again, we are very thankful. Here we are at 3:56. We're getting close to 4 o'clock, and there was some concern that
Ping pong sized hail could be possible for that storm in far western Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, I would believe that. Certainly believe that. Getting some more videos in here of images. So let's take a look at WEX 05. And again, most of the hail reports that they've looked like that. Again, not quite the size of a quarter. That's some of the accumulation up in Pickens County right there. And that looks pretty sizable. And again, this is some of the video we had earlier from Gordo in Pickens County. And again, that's probably not right in the core of that. But again, thanks to everybody for these videos. Back to the radar here. We're watching several storms. Let's show a big view. Let's kind of reset. Let's just show the whole northern half of the state. So if you're in the Tennessee Valley, we have a severe thunderstorm in Franklin County that's moving northeast. That'll be affecting northern Lawrence, parts of Limestone, eastern Lauderdale, eastern Colbert. We have storms clustered all in through here. Walker, Winston, Fayette, Marion, Lamar, not severe by classic definition. East Alabama, nothing going on here. The air is drier and more stable. We don't expect any problems this morning in East Alabama. And then we have that one hailer that's in northwestern Tuscaloosa County. Let's keep dropping to the south and just see by chance if anything's farther to the south. I don't think we have any issues down here, not really. That's good. So once you get south of Interstate 20, things are calm. So the bigger storms are north of Interstate 20 and west of Interstate 65. And in some cases, they're producing hail. They're all producing a lightning show. Look at the lightning count here. 685 lightning strikes within the past 10 minutes over northwest Alabama. But again, as the storms move over into the eastern part of the state, they'll be fizzling because the air is much drier. Weather Service at Birmingham launched a special sounding, a balloon, about midnight last night, which is great. Typically, we get the balloon launches at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. But during special events, high-impact events like this, they will launch them more frequently as better input for computer models to make the models more accurate. What you see here, we have no tornado warnings in effect. And really, we have no tornado warnings in Mississippi. Let's pop on the Columbus Air Force Base radar real quick, and we'll kind of we'll shift it to the west a little bit. And in Mississippi, you've got some storms over here, but again, in Mississippi, this is just kind of junky-looking convection, which is a good thing. We don't have any big supercells coming in from Mississippi, so we are going to have these storms in northwest Alabama for the next several hours, and we're hoping for a lull around 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, before the big show, the second round this afternoon and tonight. That's when we expect many supercell storms, many tornadoes, some of them strong, violent, some of them long track. And that's when it gets really dangerous. And again, we don't want to burn ourselves out here on this morning situation with no tornado warnings. And we'll stay with this a little longer, but all of our energy has to be focused on the afternoon and night event, which will have some life-threatening storms, I'm afraid. I hope we're wrong. I hope we just have some strong storms and nothing happens. But when you look back in the past, when we've had upper air and surface patterns like this, they have produced some very meaningful tornadoes. Some of the analogs that show up included April 8th, 1998, December 16th, 2000, November 24th, 2001. all those events had very sizable tornadoes involved, and we had loss of life. So we are just trying to mitigate loss of life. That's the main job, and that's what we do here. And we hope that that will be the case. We have no loss of life this afternoon and tonight, but we've got to be ready for that. And again, if you're up with us at 4 o'clock this morning, we thank you, and you can help us later today and tonight as we get into the meat of this thing by calling and texting your friends and neighbors to let them know if they are in a tornado warning polygon. So again, we've got noisy storms in progress over northwest Alabama, west of I-65, north of Interstate 20, in some cases producing some small hail. We've got a few spots under severe thunderstorm warnings. There are no tornado warnings. The severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for parts of Franklin, northern Lawrence, Limestone, extreme eastern Lauderdale, eastern Colbert counties. Let's look at our new warning here, Riley, that just came on. This is for the storm, that hail core that's over north Tuscaloosa County. That will be moving up into extreme eastern Fayette and parts of southwestern Walker County. And again, this is for hail. So the new severe thunderstorm warning includes towns like Berry, which is in eastern Fayette. It includes Oakman, which is in Walker County. It would include near Townley, not quite to Jasper. But I bet you that Jasper Skycam looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, just pulled it up. It's still dry. Of course, it's going to take a few minutes, but I mean, we still have a lighting show in the sky. This Skycam's looking west. So once this storm arrives, I mean, we'll be right on top of it, and still showing a significant hail core. So we might get us a good show in off this Jasper Skycam come the next few minutes.
Again, I'm watching. We'll leave that camera up for just a minute. We got to get somebody up there to get that camera. We can tilt it up a little higher. Right? We'll put Riley up there on the roof, see if we can fix that thing. You got your screwdriver, don't you?
Yeah, I'll put my Crocs on, save me from the lightning, since rubber doesn't conduct electricity.
Yeah, there you go. Again, I'm collecting some of the images that folks are sending us here. From tonight. And again, most all these images involve hail or lightning. So let's see here. What we're going to do is take WEX 05, and we got some fire in the sky images from parts of northwest Alabama tonight.
Ooh.
That's some of the hail that is falling. And again, in some cases, it's covering the ground like that. Again, and I've really yet to see a super large hailstone. I think that's a good example of what we're seeing so far. You can see that one larger hailstone in there, and then some smaller ones. All these were captured with that storm coming through West Alabama. That's some fairly small hail. But we've had this throughout the course of the night. The main concern, really not wind, but hail. So again, all of these coming in for the past 15 minutes or so. So back to the radar. We're now after 4 o'clock. Good morning. It's Saturday morning. Welcome to Saturday. We have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect now for northwest Tuscaloosa County, eastern Fayette, and southwestern Walker County for what could be some large hail in this storm that's coming out of northern Tuscaloosa County. We have storms with probably small hail falling along and north of Interstate 22 up towards Smith Lake, and up in the Tennessee Valley. We've got a storm possibly producing large hail near Russellville or just south of Russellville. And that's a pretty good hail core right here. And again, that's going to be coming up through northern Lawrence, eastern Colbert, eastern Lauderdale, and Limestone counties. And it technically clips the far northwestern corner of Morgan County, but that will not affect Decatur. But it will affect Athens if it holds together. So again, severe thunderstorm warnings in effect from Franklin County up to Limestone County for the storm segment here. And again, down to the south, we have warnings in effect from northern Tuscaloosa County up into eastern Fayette and southwestern Walker County. But you just get the idea. We have this one mess right here: convection, hail, lightning, west of I-65, north of Interstate 20. And again, if you're over here, if you're in Fort Payne, Scottsboro, Albertville, Anniston, Gadsden, Ranburne, Heflin, Sylacauga, Ashland, Lineville, we expect no problems this morning. The major concerns will come for you this afternoon and tonight, statewide. And concerning the second round, you know, I've been here a long time. I've never had this many people that are trying to evacuate. I don't really think that's advisable. If you've got a site-built home and you've got a small closet or a bathroom, then you've got a safe place. You don't need to evacuate. And if you're trying to drive out of this, you'd have to drive to Dallas, Texas, or Orlando, or Miami, Florida, or Minneapolis, Minnesota, and really up there they've got snow falling. That whole concept is odd. I don't know where that's been introduced, but I'm not so sure that's a really wise thing to do. You just need to know the safe place in your house. And if you live in a trailer, that is a complicating factor. You've got to have a nearby shelter where you can go, or a business that's open 24/7. But there's many of those shelters are here, and they are open. And there are many businesses that welcome people to come in and ride out a storm during a tornado warning. So, but again, I just don't know if evacuating would make a lot of sense. Hopping on an airplane and flying to Dallas, where even on a big tornado day, the odds of one spot being hit are relatively low. They really are. So I'm just not so sure that evacuation is the best possible concept here. And let's see here. Let's do one more video. We'll go to WEX 05. This is some of the hail that is falling Gordo from that storm. And that looks to be probably dime to quarter size, close to severe size. And again, that's a good example of what these hail cores are doing across the northwestern part of the state early this morning, producing some hail. But again, the good news we see zero evidence of any tornado activity. Technically, there is a tornado watch for northwest Alabama until 10 o'clock, but it just seems like the better instability axis is holding over Mississippi. The better environment for tornadoes is holding back to the west. And even in Mississippi, it's quiet. And I think the atmosphere is just kind of waiting on everything to come together later this afternoon and tonight for round two. And that's when things get pretty dicey around here. And that's when we're going to have to be at the top of our game. You'll have to be at the top of your game. It takes all of us working together to get through a high-end, dangerous, severe weather event like we expect later today and tonight. So back to the radar. 408. Thunderstorms in progress west of I-65, north of Interstate 20. Kind of a rude wake-up call. And in some cases, there could be some larger hail. And that's the reason for the warnings in effect for Franklin, northern Lawrence, eastern Colbert, eastern Lauderdale, Limestone County, southwestern Walker, eastern Fayette, northern Tuscaloosa counties, where you see those severe thunderstorm warning polygons. Those are for hailers. And we're just not seeing any evidence of strong wind or tornadoes, which is great. The only issue we have, it's hail and heavy rain. And again, with this heavy rain falling in this part of Alabama, we'll see more, obviously, later today and tonight. There might be some flooding concerns. There's a flash flood watch for the northern third of the state through tonight. But looking at everything I'm seeing here, it just stays quiet. Skywatcher chat is quiet. Most of the socials are quiet. And Riley, quiet is good, don't you think?
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm just scrolling through comments, seeing if we get any more hail reports. Not really seeing much of anything right now. You said chat's quiet. That's also a good thing. Can't really complain about that. The severe thunderstorm warning was continued for Tuscaloosa, mainly due to that threat for hail. That's really the northern third. That'll go to 4:30, and the one in Fayette and Walker County will also go to 4:30. But at least we could say there is absolutely no significant sign of any kind of rotation. And, you know, nocturnal tornadoes are the worst kind, ones that happen in the middle of the night. But, you know, this isn't great either, being woken up by hail, but I guess we can thank our lucky stars that folks are only being woken up by hail and not a tornado warning, even though that tornado watch does still remain in effect west of Birmingham, west of I-65 until 10 a.m. But if we're just dealing with a couple of hailers, I feel bad for the people that get damaged, but, usually hail reports result in fairly quiet conditions on the socials, except getting all the pictures of hail.
Let's go back to WEXO 5. We'll take a look at some of the video coming in. This is some video from Tuscaloosa County. They're reporting just rain and lightning. There's no hail at that particular location. And the lightning has been very vivid tonight. We have seen fire in the sky all across the western side of the state with those thunderstorms. Looks like we have some hail falling here, perhaps. That's fairly small hail. And really, most of the hail has been smaller, although there might be a spot down there where the hail is 1 inch in diameter. And that's our severe criteria, quarter size, 1 inch in diameter. And But if we can get through the morning round with just some hailers like this, that's a good thing. We've had no damaging wind. We've had no tornadoes in Alabama. We did have that one supercell in Mississippi that produced some significant damage and a couple of tornado touchdowns. But we've had, again, in Alabama, no tornadoes this morning, no damaging wind this morning, just some hail and a whole lot of lightning and a whole lot of rain. And that is a good thing. But again, I just want to stress this is a little preview because we have the more significant event coming up this afternoon and tonight. And all of the parameters, all of the parameters are pointing toward a high-end severe weather event with the possibility of damaging wind, very large hail, and a few violent long-track tornadoes. The last time we had a high risk, level 5 out of 5, was March 25th of 2021. And on that day, we had 10 tornadoes. 3 of them were long-track EF3s. High-risk days are not that common. We get those maybe once every 2 years or so, and in this case, it's been 4 years. Last year was amazingly quiet here. So we'll just see what the atmosphere delivers. That's the one thing about it. We do all we can do, and the weather's going to do what it's going to do. It doesn't know anything about high risks or anything else. We'll see what happens. But the main encouragement is for everybody to be in a position to hear warnings later today and tonight for that second round, which is the really bad batch. And if you are in a tornado warning polygon, please take them all seriously when the atmosphere is like what we think it will be this afternoon and tonight. Again, this morning, things are okay. Round one, it's been very tame with a lot of thunder and lightning and hail, but so far so good. And again, we're going to stay with this for probably about 10 more minutes, and we'll probably phase out this segment of our coverage. And again, we have to gear up here for the second round. For all of us, we have to be performing right at the top of our game for this afternoon and tonight. We believe the second round will start around 11 o'clock this morning. That's when the window opens. And any storm that goes between 11 o'clock this morning and midnight tonight could be severe with large hail, damaging winds, tornadoes, and in some cases, upper end, strong, long track tornadoes, way past what we're experiencing this morning, which is a good thing. So let's go back to the radar. We have thunderstorms in progress, mainly west of I-65, north of Interstate 20. Let's look at this Franklin County storm. This thing is just, it's been interesting. Let's look at the velocity real quick and let's just see what it looks like. And again, there's nothing there, nothing. No evidence of a tornado, but the hail, yes. We'll take a look at the reflectivity. And again, the better chance of hail, it's going to be north of Highway 24. 24 runs from Russellville back over to Moulton. And up here in the northeastern corner of the county, pretty good chance we got some large hail falling, and that'll be crossing up into Lawrence County. Highway 157 is right here, runs from Moulton up to Florence. The town of Hatton is right here, and that'll be coming up, crossing the Tennessee River into Limestone County. So we have severe thunderstorms in effect there. Let's go down to our storm that's coming up into eastern Fayette and Walker counties, the one coming out of northern Tuscaloosa. Again, the hail core is right here and east of Berry, and that's going to be crossing. It'll be coming into Oakman here soon. So if you're in Oakman in Walker County, you can expect some pretty large hail, and ultimately that'll be coming out along Interstate 22, Jasper here. And we've got some smaller hail, for example, north of Jasper up towards Smith Lake, over here in Fayette County, north of Fayette up toward Hubbardsville. But that's small hail. and we can handle Riley small hail, right?
Yes, we can. And just saw a comment. Folks in Russellville, there are no power. But I guess that's the good thing about advancing technologies. They can still watch us on phones and laptops.
Phones, absolutely. Absolutely. So again, I'm going to pull down some more video so we can see what is happening across the city. And again, we like to actually show people what's happening through their cameras. So let's go to WEX 05. And again, it's awfully hard to see much at night. That's the other problem with these storms coming during the pre-dawn hours here. It's pitch black, but goodness, that lightning will light up the sky. What a show. Here's some more video. And again, wow, that's some pretty decent hail falling right there. And again, this is representative of what these storms are producing across Alabama tonight. And again, in these really strong hail cores, we could see hailstones exceeding 1 inch in diameter. And this has been the big problem. If you're just waking up this morning, a lot of folks that get up early, welcome. We've been here all night, and we'll be here all day and much of the night tonight. But so far, we have had no tornadoes in Alabama. We have had no damaging wind in Alabama. We have had hail in Alabama. That's been the biggest issue this morning. And thankfully, much of it has been relatively small. Although in some cases, we've had hailstone 1 inch in diameter. And a lot of that, fire in the sky. The lightning show has been nonstop, like strobe lights in the sky through the northwestern part of the state. The storms have been very extensive west of I-65, north of Interstate 20. And again, folks have been seeing the lightning display probably as far away as Birmingham. And again, more hail video coming in from this morning. So let's go back to, let's look at our tornado watch, Riley. We just wanted to show that. We have a tornado watch in effect for the northwest part of Alabama. The counties in yellow here. This does not include Birmingham or points east. We just don't expect any problems this morning for the eastern side of the state. Your problems come later today and tonight. The whole state will have a major risk of severe storms later today and tonight. But the tornado watch is in effect for areas west of a line from Huntsville, the Cullman, Jasper, Tuscaloosa, York, Livingston. And we do note a new tornado warning polygon in Mississippi. Let's look at the Columbus radar and see what's going on over there. This is a storm that's northwest of Houston, Mississippi.
I have it up on radar scope over here right now, and it doesn't look very impressive because the supercell that came through Marion and Franklin County came just south of where this new warning is. So the atmosphere in a mesoscale standpoint, that very small area in Calhoun County, Mississippi, might not be conducive for this to be a long track storm, which is a good thing for this morning. And even the rotation doesn't look that significant, but it might be one of those scenarios, James, we talked about earlier with the cyclical cells. They cycle up and they cycle down. So this is something definitely worth watching, but you know, that more wicked storm cell moved through that similar area a few hours ago. So I think it'll really be struggling in this particular environment in Mississippi.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think that's going to wind up in Alabama. But that is one tornado warning polygon we have over here in central Mississippi. Again, Tupelo is here. That's US 45. And doesn't look that impressive. But again, the air is a little more unstable. The better instability in Mississippi this morning. The air is relatively stable across Alabama. So let's go take a look at reflectivity and check out the Alabama situation. And again, I know we're starting to repeat ourselves and we sound like a broken record here over and over, but we have no tornado warnings. We have not had tornado warnings in quite a while. We've had a few severe thunderstorm warnings early this morning for hail. In fact, there's a new warning that will be an extension of the current warning that will include the city of Jasper. So let's take a look at that. Right there, most likely large hail has fallen at Oakman. And so that hail core is going to be coming right up into downtown Jasper. This is moving at about 60 miles an hour. This thing is flying. And the warning stretches up into parts of central and northeastern Walker County. And again, this is just for the possibility of hail. And we should mention on top of Smith Lake, it's pouring. You've got small hail, heavy rain, but the storm that's over Smith Lake is not severe. And I know what I can hear you say, yes, it is severe, but you don't have 58-mile-per-hour winds and you don't have 1-inch diameter hail. You've got a pile of rain, loud thunder, small hail, but by classic definition, it's not severe. But again, that's on top of Smith Lake. The storm that is severe because of large hail, 1 inch in diameter or larger, is sitting on top of Oakman. And again, that's coming right up toward Jasper. So Riley, I bet you that Jasper sky cam has got some fire in the sky.
Oh yeah, let's go full. Yeah, we're looking to the west right now, and there is a lot of light, and probably within the next. You know what? I could put a fan on this. It's moving at 60 miles per hour, so I'm going to draw and go out 60 miles per hour because it's not going to take long. But Jasper is coming fairly soon. Remember, it's right on top of Oakman. Probably producing maybe ping-pong-sized hail with this storm. See if Birmingham has mentioned anything. Downstream warning. Yeah, they're expecting 1 inch and a quarter sized hail, which is just above a quarter. Or that's the criteria for severe. But that's all we're dealing with, fortunately. And you know, we don't have any tornado warnings. We don't have any significant wind issues that we've seen yet, but right now the biggest issue is still hail. And if we could go back full to the sky cam, I'll see how far we can get this camera over to try. Yeah, we're starting to see. Yeah, they just told me we have 2 Walker County traffic cameras. Let's keep an eye on them to see if we can see some lightning or see some hail, but it might be a few minutes until it gets a little closer to Jasper. But, I mean, give it 10, 15 minutes. This Jasper Skycam is going to be bright and shiny from lightning.
Oh, yeah. Wow. That was awesome. You missed a good bolt right there. Wow. That was pretty impressive. And again, we're watching the severe storm coming up into Jasper. From the southwest, we've got hail at Oakman. Let's go back to WEXO 5. And again, this will kind of show what people are dealing with early this morning. More video of hail coming in. And again, thanks to everybody for your videos and reports. It is so helpful. But that's what we've been dealing with this morning, hail. And in most cases, smaller hail. But from time to time, the hail has been larger. And again, these are very photogenic storms in terms of the lightning display. The lightning in many cases almost nonstop. And the lightning can be seen from many miles away. But let's go right back to the radar. And again, the latest warning, it's a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Walker County. We'll pop the radar back behind me here. We'll go back to the key wall. Thank you. That's the core right here. It's come through Oakman, and it'll be coming right through downtown Jasper most likely. And again, hail could exceed 1 inch in diameter here. And up on Smith Lake, it's pouring. We might have some small hail falling up here, but again, the storms are under severe limits. The reason for the warning is that hail shaft that's coming up on Jasper. But let's go up north and take a look at our northern storm, Riley. This will be a storm up in the Tennessee Valley that's prompted warnings up here. And I'll tell you, Franklin County, they've gotten a lot of rain here. I would imagine we probably have some spots that have gone over 1 inch just from this cluster of storms alone here. And if we have hail falling, most likely it's going to be here northwest of Moulton up toward Hatton. And that hail shaft is going to keep moving northeast. That'll be crossing the Tennessee River into Limestone County. Again, Rogersville here, Lexington here, Center Star right here. Hail shaft coming right up this way. So if you're in Limestone, northern Lawrence, you might see some large hail falling here. The warning is expired for Franklin. This is basically just the main backing through here, parts of southern Colbert and northern Franklin counties. So again, severe thunderstorm warning to the north from northern Lawrence into Limestone, and down south we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for much of Walker County for the storm that is coming right up into Jasper. And we still have a hail shaft down here in northern Tuscaloosa County, and again that'll be coming up through extreme eastern Fayette County, kind of taking the same path. So just another case of a pretty good hail shaft right here. This is all north of the city of Tuscaloosa, but we have absolutely no tornado problems this morning. We have not had tornado problems in Alabama this morning. It's all good. Riley, we've not had one tornado warning to serve up since we had those in Franklin and Marion. So far, we're living right.
Yeah, and the velocity doesn't look impressive in terms of any rotation. Even that storm back in Mississippi, it's going through an area that actually had a tornado several hours ago, shortly after midnight. That's Calhoun County, Mississippi. And it's got signs of some very broad rotation. But since it's going through an atmosphere that's already had a tornado within the last 4 or 5 hours, and at night, the atmosphere can't really recover, and it's still got to go through near Tupelo and just north of Smithville. That area has already been worked over from a storm, so in this short amount of time, I really don't foresee this particular storm making it to Alabama, which is, still very good news, but just the environment this one's in right now, I think we're all right from that, but the fact still for here is we're dealing with large hail, and either it's from Columbus or Birmingham. I mean, it's still showing some pretty high reflectivity values, which is a good indicator of some potentially large hail.
Just got some video coming in from Oakman, so let's go to WEX 05. And again, this is that hail core coming through Oakman in Walker County, and that's what's coming right into downtown Jasper. And again, that just confirms what the radar has been showing us, and that's pretty good sized hailstones there. So again, this is what it looks like in Oakman in Walker County. And again, that storm is coming right into downtown Jasper. Notice there's not much wind, a lot of rain, and just good old-fashioned hail. So back to the radar, 4:28 a.m. on Saturday morning. Let's go to our Jasper Skycam. Let's just take it live, Riley. What you got going on here?
A lot of lightning.
Pan that thing over to the courthouse square over there.
Whoa, hold up. We just had a big strike as soon as I started panning it. Sorry for
Let's keep going to the right a little more.
my freak out, but
Keep going to the right. Keep going to the right. And pan down a little bit. Let's see if we can see any hail falling here.
yeah, maybe like sonic ice sized, pea size.
What'd you call it? Sonic ice?
Yeah, sonic ice. It's good to chew on.
I've not been to a Sonic. I need to go to Sonic drive-through. I need to.
Today's National Corn Dog Day.
Really?
Yeah.
The best corn dog I ever had was at the State Fair of Texas at the Cotton Bowl. This was back 40 years ago. I used to do the weather in Dallas and did the weather at the State Fair of Texas every year. And man, those corn dogs were outstanding. Wow. But this is not corn dog brains, this is weather brains. We get back on weather here. And again, we're looking at our camera. This is on top of the King Building, which is right across the street from the courthouse, the Walker County Courthouse. And Riley's done a great job of kind of maneuvering the camera where you can see obviously tremendous amounts of rain and small hail. And it seems like the hail is just not that large, Riley. It looks like the intensity's kind of gone downhill.
Yeah, but the lightning's still there, so that's still the big concern. It looks like potentially torrential downpour just about, maybe with some hail mixed in there. But looking at reflectivity, yeah, the reflectivity's gone down just a touch. But, I mean, the threat's still there. I mean, we're watching it. We can see hail on the camera. So let me pan down a little bit further down, see if I can get a better image. But we did see those small hailstones pinging off the side here. And once again, we could be fortunate it's not significant hail. But let me zoom into this street light down here. Yeah, driving rain. Don't really see anything down there, but just know that the chance of hail still exists with this particular system or with this particular storm.
You ever been to Warehouse 319?
Warehouse 319, I have not.
Point that camera farther right, a little farther to the right, right there. That's Warehouse 319. We were in there with Matt Mitchell, and we had a great time in there. It's a fun place. You know me. I can relate to food at everything I see here. This is something to do with a barbecue joint or a restaurant. But again, you're looking live at downtown Jasper, where a thunderstorm is passing through that is severe warned. And let's go back to the radar. Looks like a new warning has popped up in the Tennessee Valley. And let's see what we have here.
Ooh,
this is for the same storm. So what the Weather Service in Huntsville is doing, they're taking the storm over Jasper and issuing severe thunderstorm warnings in effect now for Cullman, Morgan, and Marshall counties and parts of Madison County. So this is a pretty big polygon for this storm complex coming out of Smith Lake and Jasper for the possibility of hail. And again, we stress we have no tornado warnings, none. No tornado issues at all right now. We have no damaging wind reports. All of the issues have involved hail. So the two storms of concern, it's that storm in northern Lawrence that's coming up into Limestone, and then we have the cluster that's over Walker County coming up into Cullman, Morgan, Marshall, and Madison. So severe thunderstorm warning number 1, severe thunderstorm warning number 2. And the main concern in both of these areas, large hail. So that's the situation here at 4:30 this morning. And again, most all of the storms remain west of I-65 and north of Interstate 20. And once you cross over east of I-65, the air is pretty stable here. So I would imagine the storms will tend to weaken as they come up into Marshall and Madison counties. I just don't think they'll maintain their intensity because the profile is much different here. And again, really, it's just junk convection for the most part. Outflow dominated, no evidence of any strong inflow, tornado problems, anything like that, which is certainly a good thing. And I just get the idea that we're going to get through this round 1 without a big tornado problem. Having said that, we do have a tornado watch for northwest Alabama in effect until technically 10 o'clock this morning. That's the watch. And again, it's a low-end threat, thank goodness. And we've got that one tornado warning polygon back in north central Mississippi. That's a pretty weak couplet. I don't think that warning will last much longer. And again, for Alabama, these are all severe thunderstorm warning polygons for hail. But technically, the tornado watch includes Madison, Morgan, Cullman, Walker, Tuscaloosa, Greene, and Sumter counties, and counties to the west. For the next several hours. And again, the bulk of this, as you can see, west of I-65, north of Interstate 20. That's where you got your best combination of dynamics and thermodynamics. But even in this case, it looks like it's just kind of a low-end threat, which is good because understand we have a high-end threat later today. Let's pop on that high risk. Again, it's hard to communicate these events when you have multiple waves of storms. And these waves are radically different. The round this morning has been pretty tame with hail. We can live with that. But the second round coming this afternoon and tonight, we have a level 5 out of 5, high risk. We see these days maybe once every 2 years. In fact, the last time we had one was 4 years ago, March 25th of 2021. And on that day, we had 10 tornadoes. 3 were long track EF3s. And we had 6 fatalities on that day near Ohatchee. And that's the one thing we do not want in this case. We do not want that loss of life. And I think people have listened to the message. I think they've responded well. I think people are ready. And so, but for all, we have to work together, all of us. We have to work, you have to work hard to be sure we have no loss of life with this thing later today and tonight. But notice your window here, 11 o'clock this morning until midnight tonight. That's 13 hours. I know that's a big, big window, but it's a big, big storm system, and we're going to have multiple waves of storms, and there could be within the storms this afternoon and tonight a few violent, long-track tornadoes, EF3 or higher. And that's how most people lose their life in this state. And so you have to pay attention to warnings, and you have to receive them first. Pay attention to them, have a plan, and we'll get through this together fine. But we have to get through this without any loss of life. And so as we kind of begin Saturday morning here, a lot of folks just waking up to the noise and the thunder, be aware this is not the main show. The main show comes later today and tonight. What we have this morning, storms with hail. And that's our main concern. And we are very thankful the better instability axis this morning has stayed over Mississippi. Again, we've had no damage in our state so far from wind, no damage from tornadoes, to my knowledge. And again, these storms are not producing really strong winds. The main reason you see these tornado or these severe thunderstorm warning polygons, hail. So we have the storm cluster that's moving northeast out of Jasper, right on top of Smith Lake, and that's crossing into Cullman County. That will be affecting Morgan, Marshall, and Madison. I think once the storms cross east of I-65, they weaken to some degree, but we certainly could see some pretty decent-sized hailstones in through here. And also a cluster coming through northern Lawrence County from Moulton north up to the Tennessee River. That'll be crossing into Limestone County, affecting the city of Athens here. But it's great to wake up to no damage reports. That's certainly some good thing. But man, the fire in the sky has been so impressive early this morning. That's the one thing people have noticed. And again, Riley, all the reports I'm seeing, the hail looks pretty small.
Yeah,
I'm not seeing big hail.
Yeah, I keep looking at our chime in over there on the big monitor, and none of them look like we're exceeding severe limits. That's on 171. Yes, small pea-sized hail, but it's still hail nonetheless. And you know, we might get a quick pulse or two of a larger hailstone, but even the reflectivity starting to back down as it moves over Smith Lake.
So let's take WEX 05, and we'll take WEX 05 full screen. And again, this is some of the vivid lightning. And I'm telling you, you know, if you're in a safe place and the storms really aren't that bad, I love watching lightning. I'm terrified of lightning. Again, I've said this before. I'll say it again. I'm afraid of one thing when it comes to weather, and it's lightning. But if you're in a good, safe place and you can just watch it like that, it's pretty impressive to watch. Nature's fireworks. And we've certainly had that this morning. And in many cases, the hail has been basically nonstop, or the lightning has been nonstop with some small hail mixed in. But that's an example of what people have been seeing early this morning across the state. And again, we're very thankful so far. We have had no damage reports. We've had no major issues. We did briefly have a tornado warning for northwest Marion and southwest Franklin.
I want to say something for Sumter, Greene, and Pickens County. They are planning on dropping the tornado watch. Initially, everybody that was in this tornado watch was set to expire at 10 a.m. But for Sumter, Greene, and Pickens counties, that tornado watch will be expiring now at 5 a.m.
And I think that's the right thing to do. And obviously, this watch will not extend until 10 o'clock. We think this whole thing is going to be winding down by in the next hour or so. And we expect kind of a lull between about 7, 8 o'clock and 11 o'clock. And people are saying, when can I travel? Is there a window? And I don't give travel advice because every human being has a different risk tolerance level. For some people, driving in just rain, it's dangerous. For some people, they don't mind at all. But if you need to travel, I think your best window will be from about 7 or 8 o'clock this morning until 11 o'clock this morning. There should be a relative lull. There could be some storms around, but we're not expecting any severe storms during that time frame. So if you need to travel, and a lot of folks, again, this is tough. This is a tough weekend. For a lot of folks, it's spring break, and they're trying to drive to the beach. They're trying to drive to Nashville to watch an SEC basketball tournament game. They're trying to drive somewhere, and that little morning window in there between about 7, 8, 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock, that's your chance to travel. It gets rough this afternoon, very rough. And if you travel this afternoon or tonight, you've got to have a way of hearing warnings in your car and know that you've got to pull off if you're in a tornado warning polygon. One of the things we're going to really stress this afternoon, you take every tornado warning seriously. This is serious business. And so personally, I would probably not want to be driving this afternoon or tonight because, as we all know, a car is a death trap during a tornado, especially a violent tornado. So again, the problems are confined really west of I-65. Let's take a look at Cullman here. It's about to get really noisy in Cullman. that big storm that's on top of Smith Lake, that's going to be coming right across Cullman, which is right here. Good Hope is right here. But again, it's not I wouldn't want to be fishing. Riley, you ever go fishing at 4 in the morning?
Yes, I have at the Smith Lake Dam. Me and my buddy would go, and my dad at times would go trout fishing at the Smith Lake
Fly
Dam.
fishing up there?
Oh, no, we just go to the dam and get some corn on the hook and just let it go. Didn't catch a thing.
Wow.
Didn't catch anything but a good time.
Well, there you go. That's all that matters. Yeah, but again, that big storm that is over Smith Lake is in the process of moving right up toward Cullman. And really and truly, the hail looks fairly small here. Probably under 1 inch, maybe close to that down here toward Brushy Pond. Crane Hill is here, and again, of course, the lake you can see right here. And the storm is right on top of Smith Lake. And that'll be coming right on top of downtown Cullman, Good Hope, Vinemont, Berlin, up here toward the Holly Pond here in the next 15, 20 minutes or so. Maybe producing some larger hail, but the winds are not extreme. There's no evidence of a tornado, none whatsoever, which is a really good thing. And I really do believe we're going to get through the morning, round 1, with no tornadoes. I think there's a good chance of that. Let's go to WEXO 5 and see what we've got. Thanks to you for sending in your video this morning. And again, this good old-fashioned rain falling here, maybe some small hail. This is what folks are waking up to this morning across the state. And obviously a lot of fire in the sky. There's some of the hailstones. And again, this is almost everything I'm seeing looks about that size, and that's pretty small. That's about dime size. I'm sure it's been a little bigger in some spots, but that's really not classic severe-sized hail at this point. Again, that's some pretty small hail, all of this falling here in the last hour or so. But again, man, that lightning display has been really something. Really something here.
And hopefully folks won't lose power. But we know Alabama Power, especially in these situations, they are very quick to respond, very quick to get power back restored.
Yeah, they have multiple staging areas, and they have called in crews from other states to help them in power restoration efforts. And again, we've got a few outages this morning, but it's very limited. The big problems come later today and tonight. And I'm afraid with the type high-end event we're expecting, we could easily see 200,000 people or more with no power tonight. So one thing about it, you might want to prepare for a power outage that might be extended in a case like this. So back to the radar. Again, we are at 4:43 a.m. this morning. This is James with Riley, and we are in the process of working a severe thunderstorm event, round 1 of 2. The second round is the greatest concern that will come this afternoon and tonight. And we've got severe thunderstorm warnings in effect now for Walker, Cullman, parts of Morgan, Marshall, and Madison counties. And you can see just kind of like trains on a track, these storms coming right down the highway here. In that path from Jasper to Cullman. And again, we think once the storms move east of I-65, they should weaken a bit. Conditions are not quite as favorable on the eastern side of the state. The air is pretty stable over here. Really no surface-based instability. But again, let's look at our tornado watch. And again, some of the counties I think have been cleared out of here. And technically, the watch extends until what counties are going out, Riley?
Sumter, Greene, and Pickens are planning to go out at 5.
Okay, so in 15 minutes. And that makes...
and then eventually, like Walker, Fayette, Lamar, probably not long after that, if I had to assume.
So let's check the Tennessee Valley. And again, want to show these new warnings up here. You can see warnings that are in effect now for Limestone and northern Madison. And again, we have a hail-producing complex here, coming through Limestone in northern Madison. And again,
High top radar.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the radar coming out of High Top. And again, you can see probably some hail is falling on the Tennessee River, and that will be crossing Interstate 65 at Athens and then moving up into northern Madison County. Hazel Green is right here. Huntsville is right here. So this may be affecting places like Madison, Hazel Green, Monrovia over the next 15 to 30 minutes with hail. That's the main concern. And that's our northern warning up here. And then the southern warning, it's the same thing. We have storms that are capable of producing hail. And back to the west, it's just raining. A lot of junk convection back here in Florence and Moulton and Russellville and places like that. This is just all outflow dominant, nothing severe, just good old-fashioned thunderstorms. But let's look at Cullman down here. It's pretty nasty in Cullman. It's a rude wake-up call. At 4:46 on a Saturday morning, these storms, again, if you're just so many people, the storms wake them up, and they immediately turn on the YouTube or the Facebook, the Twitter, and they look to find us. And there are no tornado warnings, zero, none. Technically, there is a tornado watch, yes, but based on the atmospheric conditions, the odds of a tornado are very low this morning. It all changes this afternoon. We're expecting a dangerous, high-end, severe weather situation this afternoon and tonight. We've got to save our energy for that. But this morning, it's just noisy, and you could see some hail. And yes, there is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect, but really we've seen no evidence of classic severe-sized hail. The hail has been relatively small, but it's pouring now from Smith Lake right up to Cullman. And that storm is going to keep on rolling northeast up toward Arab, Holly Pond, Baileyton, Gunnersville, and ultimately Huntsville. But the storm should begin to weaken somewhat as they push over into the eastern side of the state. And I'm just, my greatest concern was this morning round overperforming, which has happened before, but it's not, and we're very thankful for that. I look back on some events where we've had these morning events, and we had power outages, and it crippled everything, and we just didn't need that in this case because we've just got to be ready for this afternoon and tonight. So,
I want to mention too, there's no warning on this, but there is a special weather statement for parts of Walker County, Tuscaloosa, and Jefferson County, the extreme western border of Jefferson County. Just a special weather statement, which is a step down from a severe thunderstorm warning. So it might be loud, but right now remaining below severe limits.
Yeah, and you know, that's the thing. You just can't issue warnings for storms that are not severe. And these are just noisy, routine thunderstorms. Tuscaloosa, you fared pretty well. Tuscaloosa, you're quiet. Birmingham, you're quiet. The Birmingham Metro, not in this tornado watch. Points East, not in the tornado watch. And so the only warnings we have, we've got the warning for Cullman County, for Marshall, Morgan, and then the northern warning for Limestone and Madison up and through here. But this is just basically small hail. I really don't think these warnings are going to verify. But to verify, you got to have 1-inch hail. And again, that's the size of a quarter, maybe in spots, but we've just not seen that. And I've got piles of pictures and video, and we've just not seen anything like that. So our focus is really going to be shifting to the afternoon. And, you know, at some point, we just need to have that heart-to-heart talk here where, you know me, but one of the biggest things I've had to do in recent years is fight social media hyperbole, where you got some of these cowboys, and every time there's a storm, it's always the worst ever. It's never happened before. Everything's hype, everything. And most of it's nonsense. And the problem, what's developed is that with the creator content funds, the more hype, the more engagement, the more money you make. And it's a bad game. But every once in a while, you do need to use strong language. And if you hype everything up, then nobody's going to listen. We had a situation, the last event we had here, you had these guys saying it's going to be a super outbreak like never seen before. There were no tornadoes here, zero. So I'm hoping that people are willing to cut through the noise and understand I'm a straight shooter. And being a straight shooter, if there's a real danger, I'll tell you. And there's a real danger with this thing this afternoon and tonight. There's great concerns. So we want everybody to take it seriously. And we want you to be part of the team by calling your friends and relatives that are in tornado warning polygons later today and tonight to let them know, because a lot of people just don't pay attention. And between all of us, if we can work together, we can get through this without loss of life, and that's our goal. But as we look back, the lessons we've learned from social scientists, the number one reason people die in tornadoes here, the siren mentality, the notion that you're going to hear some air raid siren before a tornado, which is crazy. You're not in your house, a business, a home. You might hear them when you're outside on a sunny day. So we've got to fix that, and that's a weather radio and having emergency alerts enabled on your smartphone. And then the other problem, the lack of helmet use. And I look back on that April 27th hours of live coverage, and I didn't tell people to put on a helmet one time, not once. And I know that costs lives. And I think this time they're ready. It was great to see a lot of photographs from Targets and Walmarts where they had no helmets left, sold out. Weather radios, sold out. So I think people have listened to the message, and I think we're all ready. But we've still got a lot of work to do. We've got to get through this thing together. So just be aware that it's going to be a very rough afternoon and night with the possibility of some very violent storms and very violent tornadoes. And this is what we do here in March and April. You know, these are two of our big months in the tornado season. The tornado season is November through May. Our big months are November, March, April. And so this is a busy time of the year. So again, we'll stay here a little longer. As long as we have this warning for Cullman County, we'll stay here for a bit longer. The plan is that we're going to end the live stream, and that we've got to do some resetting here, and we've got to get ready, just like you, for the afternoon and nighttime event. That's the big event, not this stuff. And we've got to be fresh. We've got to be at the top of our game in terms of mental cognition, in terms of physical strength, in terms of telling a coherent story, in terms of our resources in the field. And Riley's going to be out in it, and Evan will be here in the office with me, and we will be at the top of our game, and we want you to be at the top of your game this afternoon and tonight. But again, round one has been very tame, and we're thankful for that. And we've still got, again, I know you're thinking, no, it's not tame. It's raining, and there's thunder, and there's lightning. Well, every storm has that. Every storm has thunder and lightning, and it rains, and there are weird-looking clouds. And there's been some hail, yes, absolutely, but it's been tame compared to what it could be in a situation like this. And again, all the convection you see here over northwest Alabama, this is just outflow dominant, not severe, noisy rain. The warnings, we technically do have warning effect for parts of Limestone, Madison, Cullman, Morgan, Marshall counties here, but again, we just don't see any strong evidence of large hail. And the other good thing, we have had no reports of damage across Alabama, which is certainly a good thing. And trust me, if there's anything going on, I'll find out about it. And again, I'm so honored that you choose to follow me on the social side. I'm thankful for that because the images and the video that you send us, it's our window to the world. And we cannot have cameras everywhere, and everybody's got a phone, and that's a good thing. And one more note, as we get into this afternoon and tonight, every bit of my energy is focused on this live stream. And we still have people that want individual briefings. And obviously, I've got to focus on reaching the masses. I can't do individual briefings. So just if you are willing to watch us, we will try and answer every question that you have as we go through this event later today and tonight. And we're very cognizant that the old TV market concept has just gone away. Most people watch us on the digital side, and there are no TV markets on the digital side. We're going to try and take care of the state of Alabama. And so just hang with us, and we'll do that. So again, here we are at, let's see, what time is it? 4:54 on a Saturday morning. James Spann, Riley Blackwell here, and we are watching storms, most of them not severe. They're just noisy, producing some small hail. The warning for Limestone in northern Madison, that's gone away. The storm near Athens, that's weakened. Again, it's just outflow dominant, not severe. And we might see some larger hail falling down here in Cullman along Interstate 65, but everything I've seen, the hail in Cullman is small and not severe. And I would imagine that they will let this warning go here pretty soon. And the other thing to consider is that this is moving into a stable air mass. And as that is the case, the weakening will continue. No evidence of any tornado activity, none whatsoever. And again, the odds of a tornado this morning just look very, very low. I know there's a tornado watch. I understand that. But again, we just don't think the chance of a tornado is high this morning. We've got to focus our energy on this afternoon and tonight. We've got to do that. And I promise we will be here at the top of our game. So, let's see, looking at, this is just good, Riley, so far. Everything I see looks good, which is good.
Yeah, and starting to get reports of maybe some lightning entering western Jefferson, but at least we can say that's it. It's just lightning. There might be some small hail, but remember, you need at least an inch or a quarter-sized hailstone to be considered a severe thunderstorm warning. So once this Coleman one expires, I think folks can finally at least take a nap. I don't know about going to sleep, but getting a little cat nap, and we'll be locked and loaded for this afternoon.
I'm going down to get me a Hunt Brothers breakfast pizza. That's what I'm doing down at the Shell station down here. That makes me happy. So yes, and again, we'll stay with you for a little while longer and understand when we stop the live stream, that means there's nothing going on. That's really important. We are going to gather our resources and gear up for this afternoon and tonight. We're going to be here a long time, and this is going to be a high-end threat. And I don't mean to scare anybody. I understand people have weather anxiety. It's real, it's clinical. And the last thing we want to do is scare anybody, but at the same time, we have to communicate the danger. We have no choice. And for those that have weather anxiety, the thing I would suggest is maybe just lay off the doom scrolling a little bit. Just kind of walk away from your phone. We've just told you what's going to happen. It's going to be a high-end severe weather threat this afternoon and tonight. Just take a walk this morning if it's not raining. Breathe some fresh air. Get off the grid. The doom scrolling can be very depressing. And as things unfold, I promise we will come here with a level-headed approach. You're not going to see me with smoke coming out of my ears and I'm waving my hands and my underwear's flapping up down my legs, screaming. We don't do that here. We have a very level-headed approach, and we'll tell you everything you need to know in a proper way. So just hang in there with us. We're right here at 5 o'clock. We have thunderstorms in progress north and west of Birmingham. There is one severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Cullman, for parts of Morgan and Marshall and Madison counties. But again, as the storms cross over into East Alabama, Northeast Alabama, the air is much more stable here. And the odds of this staying severe, even if I don't think it's severe now, but it should weaken as it moves northeast. I'll put it that way. And again, we've probably got some small hail falling in Cullman, Good Hope, down toward the eastern shore of Smith Lake. And again, for the rest of the state, it's just junk-type convection. And I like when I say that because that means it's not severe, outflow dominant, no tornadoes. And let's look at our high risk one more time real quick, Riley, before we kind of start to wrap this thing up. We have a high risk, level 5 out of 5, for this afternoon and tonight. And again, notice the window. The window opens up about 11 o'clock this morning, all the way through midnight. That's 13 hours. I know that's a long window, but that's just the way it is. And during that 13-hour window, you could have some really rough weather. The purple here, notice this is level 5 out of 5. You get this maybe once every 1 or 2 years. The last time we had one was 4 years ago on March 25th, 2021. And on that day, we had 10 tornadoes. 3 were long track EF3s. One of those hit our house. That was a bad day. Damage was horrible, but in the case of the one that hit our house, everybody was okay. People heard the warning. They responded in that path. We did have loss of life at Ohatchee from another tornado. And we just don't want any loss of life. But for the rest of the state that's not in the high risk, you've still got this level 4 out of 5 risk. This is statewide. This is Mobile to Huntsville, Dothan to Muscle Shoals. Everybody's involved in an upper end risk here, and this is a very dangerous situation here. So again, 11 a.m. until midnight, please be weather aware. And again, we will be right here. Now, Riley's going to be out in it. I'll be in here with Evan, and we have multiple crews in the field. John Brown's going to join us. John is the legendary storm chaser, one of the best in the world. Got a great heart. John's going to be out in this, and we will have the resources we need to give you the information that you need in a logical, proper type way. But again, we're going to have a little downtime this morning between 6 o'clock and 10, 11 o'clock this morning, where things will be relatively calm. And that's a good time if you need to drive somewhere, go to the store, take care of some business. That's a good time to do that. And again, technically, yes, there's a tornado watch, and notice it's gone away for counties down here below Ewan and Oakman. It's technically in effect up here in northwest Alabama, but quite frankly, it's going to go away soon. We just are not concerned about tornadoes based on the current state of the atmosphere, which is good. So the warning is now officially off the board for Lamar, Fayette, Tuscaloosa, Point South. Technically, it's in effect from Walker north, but again, the tornado chance is very low this morning for round one. So one warning we have is the warning for Cullman, Morgan, Madison, Marshall. And that's not for a tornado, it's for some small hail that's falling there. And I'm really not even seeing, Riley, any hail reports with this. Last 5 minutes, none, zero.
And not at all. And for some reason, we don't have an algo camera up in Coleman. You know, that would give us a good visual, but I'm looking at the Huntsville chat. Yeah, they're going to continue it. I believe. Let's see when this will go to. It will be in effect. Okay, the tornado watch is in effect until 5:30. But I mean, looking at the reflectivity, we have better reflectivity values popping up in western Tuscaloosa and Fayette and Walker counties, and this is just looks like almost like just a heavy rain signature coming from the high top radar.
Yeah, again, I'm looking at some of the images from Cullman, and the hail is very small, really small. So I honestly don't think these storms are severe by classic definition. And again, to be severe, you've got to have 1 inch diameter hail or larger, or 58 mile per hour winds or greater. And we're just not seeing that in here. This looks like some small hail. So again, I don't think this warning will be extended. There's no reason for that. And it just looks like we're going to get through round one with no problems. And again, I know what people are saying. Yeah, this storm is severe. It's raining hard, and it's lightning and thundering. And again, every storm has hard rain and thunder and lightning. The severe definition, 1 inch diameter hail or 58 mile per hour winds or greater. And I just don't think we have that. And again, the heavier core is moving away from Cullman. No evidence of any.
Well, as soon as we're trying to pass good news, this is from the National Weather Service of Huntsville. Monitoring broad rotation in southern Coleman County. This is north of Colony. Let's see if we can. Yeah,
That's broad.
Yeah, something's there. And this is from Birmingham, so it's shooting a lot higher up in the sky than what we were seeing come out of coming to Franklin County and Marion County a few hours ago. So this might just be a mid or even upper level rotation in this storm. So
yeah, that's not a tornado. There's no, again, I'm just not concerned about tornadoes at this point. And again, that is not a tornado signature. That is not. And again, the atmosphere just is not primed for tornadoes east of I-65. So I've got some video that's come in from Good Hope. Let's take WEXO 5, we can. And again, this is Good Hope in Cullman County, and obviously it's pitch black outside. But you can see that it's pouring rain, and we have thunder, and we have lightning. And that's what our friends in Cullman County are waking up to early this morning. And again, looking at all the reports, either there's no hail or the hail is very small, which means that the storms are just not really at severe limits coming through Cullman County, which is a good thing. But boy, the lightning, yeah, buddy, it's been almost nonstop. For some folks, they've been seeing strobe lights in the sky for the past 4 or 5 hours. But for those that are just joining us, we had one brief tornado warning up in northwest Alabama early this morning. This was for the far northwestern part of Marion County, the southwestern part of Franklin County. But the storm fizzled out, and we had no damage, and there was no tornado, and the issue, it's been hail through the northern part of the state. Let's go back to the radar, and it's been mostly small hail, which is good. So again, you can see just really non-severe storms up here in parts of Cullman, Morgan, Marshall, and headed up toward Madison counties. But as you cross over east of I-65, the air is pretty stable over here, and it's just not conducive for any severe storms. We don't expect any severe storms for Anniston, Gadsden, Fort Payne, Center, Leesburg, Scottsboro, Auburn, Opelika with round one this morning. But again, we stress the whole state will have a major severe weather threat later this afternoon and tonight. So don't let the lack of issues this morning fool you. And of course, the other question people are asking, will the morning round of storms help to stabilize the atmosphere, preventing a big event later in the day? And that often can be the case. But in this situation, we think the dynamics will overcome any marginal thermodynamics. It's a very dynamic setup with very strong wind fields at the surface and aloft. And we think that will overcome any lack of instability. And the air should have a little time to recover by midday today. So the answer is we don't think this will affect the severity of the storms later today and tonight, which is, we've seen this many times with these impressive systems like this. You don't need a lot of instability for the storms to produce here. So 5:07, a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Cullman, parts of Morgan, Marshall, Madison counties. There could be some small hail right here between Cullman and Hanceville on US 31. But other than that, it just looks like good old-fashioned rain with some thunder and lightning. 309 lightning strikes here in the last 10 minutes in this zone, so the lightning is impressive. And of course, the rain is heavy. There is a flash flood watch in effect for the northern third of Alabama for this event through late tonight. But again, as folks begin to wake up in Cullman, we're getting a lot of reports now. And again, the good news, just everything looks like very small hail or no hail at all. And that's just what we want to hear. Yeah, everybody says the hail is small or they have no hail at all. So let's go to WEX 05 and take a look at some of the hail falling in Cullman. I don't even see much hail at all there, Riley. It's tiny.
Yeah, and that's certainly not severe.
No. This is security camera video. In fact, let me hang on. Let me back this up here. That's the reason you can tell by the timestamp there. You can see 4:56 a.m. And obviously a lot of lightning and rain, but I just don't see much hail, if any, at all there. And again, this is what people in Cullman are experiencing early this morning. And I'll take a good old non-severe storm. That works for me on a morning like this. But I just honestly believe we're going to wind up with getting through round one without any major problems. We've still got a little ways to go, but the tornado watch has been canceled for much of West Alabama. We still got a few counties under a watch.
But they're already talking about canceling Marion, Walker, Winston soon.
Yeah, there's no point in a watch for those counties as well, and that'll be off the board soon. But all these videos were taken up in Cullman County within the last 15 minutes. And again, just a lot of good old-fashioned rain here, and thunder and lightning, and some small hail. And I'm so thankful. The people of Cullman are so good to check in with me and send in reports. And so far, so good. So back to the radar. 5:10 on Saturday morning. James Spann with Riley Blackwell here. And again, this is Jefferson County here. This is Walker County here. And again, there might be some small hail northwest of Birmingham. But again, small is the key word. No need for a warning here. The better chance of any meaningful hail is just to the southeast of Cullman here. It'll be coming up on Berlin on US Highway 278 and then ultimately crossing over into Marshall County. But remember, now that the storms are east of I-65, the air is much more stable here, not really conducive for severe storms. So small hail a possibility, thunder, lightning, heavy rain. But again, it's just the storms don't look severe at this point, which is a good thing. And we've got to focus on this afternoon and tonight. We've got to do that. And again, one of my concerns is that people are waking up and hearing, well, we had no tornadoes this morning. We had no wind damage this morning. These storms aren't that bad. That means the whole thing was a bust. Well, no, we've always tried to communicate that the big event, the big show is round 2. Not round 1, but round 2. So even though we've had few problems early this morning, understand we've got the big show coming up, and that's going to be about 11 o'clock this morning through midnight, 13 hours. During the 13-hour window, we could have a few violent long-track tornadoes that are capable of killing people. And I don't mean to say that lightly. Way too many people have died on my watch. And we've tried to prep people through the week in a logical, calm way to get people ready for this, and I think they are. But some people still don't know. Some people are busy, they're just off the grid, they don't listen to the weather. And if you know somebody that's not aware of the threat, just let them know that it's going to be pretty dangerous this afternoon and tonight. And be sure they have a way of hearing warnings. They know what they're going to do if they're under a warning. They've got a plan. If they live in a mobile home, where will they go? Will they have transportation? And you can help us just be part of the process. The social scientists, the behavioral science experts have told us you're missing one of your greatest resources, and it's people that pay attention to weather. They can be a mouthpiece for you and tell people that you can never reach. And I think that is so true. So again, you can be part of the process later today.
Severe warning coming for Blount County shortly, probably just due to I think the storm's pulsing just east of Coleman, so that might give it a little more pronounced hail core, but still want to, yep, there it is. It's Blountsville, Sneed, Aniana, you're not in the warning, but just for a very small portion of Blount County, that could see some small hail. And that's what really most of the warnings today have been, James. And I don't know about you, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Again, so as Riley says, there is a warning in effect. This is a severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning in effect for northern Blount County. This does not include Aniana. And again, this is no tornado warning. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for the possibility of some hail. And again, you can see, and let's look up north and see what's going on up here. Again, this is the original warning. Okay, so this is the original warning for Coleman, Madison, Marshall, and Morgan. So the new warning, it's for the line segment coming into northern Blount. And again, this is Blountsville, Susan Moore, Sneed, places like that where you might see some small hail. We've had no evidence of any strong winds, no evidence of a tornado, and these storms are just, quite frankly, not that bad. But in that there might be some spot in here with some small hail. The Weather Service decided as a course of least regret to issue a warning for northern Blount for the storm there. And again, I'm compiling all of these hail images and videos that are coming in here, but everything I'm seeing, it's very small. And I've got a pile of hail images coming in here, but they're small. We're not seeing any evidence of the 1-inch hail, which is the severe criteria. And I will put some up on the screen here in a second so you guys can see it at home. All right, so let's see about going to WEXO 5. So this is the type of hail that we are seeing. And that's not 1 inch in diameter. This is pretty small, about the size of dimes. And keep in mind, to be severe, the hail needs to be 1 inch in diameter, the size of a quarter. And really, the main thing is the lightning. It's been nonstop, getting quite the sky show for folks across the northern part of Alabama early this morning. And you can see that lightning from many, many miles away, illuminating the sky. And again, that might be close to 1 inch right there. That's close. So you can see, and I like it when they do that. If you put a coin or an object of known size in the image.
Well, now we have one for Jefferson. for a severe thunderstorm warning. The extreme north and northeastern corner. So West Jefferson, Sayre. You know what's up near Sayre? Folks love when you talk about it, James. Highway 78.
I think they closed it. I think it's sold.
I thought you bought it.
Well, I put it on your credit card, so there you go. Yes, so, and again, this is for small hail. So a thunderstorm cluster, and actually this could be larger hail at West Jefferson. That's near the Alabama Power generating plant there, and that'll be crossing Interstate 22 right here. This is the Walker-Jefferson County line, and then coming out across northern Jefferson. And again, Morris, Kimberly, Warrior here. Corner is right here. Cane Creek Road is down here. This is north of Gardendale, north of Fultondale, north of Graysville. This is the far northern part of Jefferson County, and again, this is for the possibility of maybe a few spots where there's some larger hail. So again, all of these warnings, nothing to do with a tornado, nothing to do with damaging wind, it's hail. And in most cases, the hail is small. And again, that's going to be the case as the storms come on through with round one of our two-round system. So let's do a reset here. Let's just show the big picture. Let's show the entire northern half of the state and kind of explain what we have here. So south of Interstate 20, it's quiet. No storms, no rain, nothing. Down here, maybe one little shower near West Blockton, that's it. So south of Interstate 20, basically dry. South of Interstate 59, basically dry. Northwest Alabama, the Shoals, Russellville, Moulton, junk convection in here. This is just outflow dominant, nothing severe, just rain. Weather Service offices in Birmingham and Huntsville, they've elected to issue severe thunderstorm warnings for a few of these storms in the segment here because of the possibility of some hail. And those warnings include parts of northern Jefferson, eastern Cullman, northern Blount, and northwestern Marshall counties for what you see right in through here. So again, there could be some small hail, but again, we're stressing here, the odds of a tornado are very, very low this morning now. The odds of damaging wind, very, very low. Storms are coming into a more stable air mass, and they should weaken, and we should be pretty much over with round one within the next hour or so. And after that, we should have a lull between about 7 o'clock and 11 o'clock, about a 4-hour lull. And again, there's going to be some rain around, but in terms of any severe threat, 7 to 11, that's kind of your lull. And then we get into a really dangerous situation this afternoon and tonight. That's when everything is in place for some very violent tornadoes. Unlike what we've had this morning, it's been very tame. We've had rain, thunder, lightning, and small hail, and that's it. We've had no tornadoes this morning, no damaging wind this morning, but I want to stress it should be a much different situation this afternoon. But again, you can see that if you're in Huntsville, it's just raining up there, no problems there. The better chance of any hail most likely would be over here toward Holly Pond, which is east of Cullman, and again, you can see the hail shaft right here along US 278 coming in toward Holly Pond. And again,
James, we actually have video on Chime In from Berlin, which is just west of Berlin.
Yeah.
Just west of Holly Pond. And I mean, that video, it doesn't look quarter-sized.
Yeah, and again, that's pretty typical of the type of hail that we have seen across the state early this morning. And I'll load up some more hail videos here. I got dozens of them just to let people see what it's been looking like here. And again, everything I'm seeing, it's pretty small. And again, if there's some big hail out there, I'll wind up with it. Just got a big hail report from Owensboro, Kentucky, which makes more sense. So let's go over to WEX 05. And this is, again, some of the hail that is falling. And again, this is at Berlin, which is on US 278 between Cullman and Holly Pond. And it's, again, that's pretty small. That does not look like quarter-sized hail there. That's more of the hail that's been reported in Cullman County. Looks very small. Looks like hail coming down a gutter or a downspout there. Mostly small hail. And again, you can see that's about the size of black-eyed peas. up in northwest Alabama. So again, mostly small hail. So back to the radar, 520, and we're watching this thunderstorm complex that is located in the far northwestern part of Jefferson County.
That reflectivity is really backed off too.
Yeah, it's that looks like very small hail. And again, this
4
is
lightning strikes.
this is the old U.S. Highway 78, which is now Alabama Highway 5. It's town of Sayre here, Bagley here, and that's going to be moving out across the far northern part of probably passing a little south of the corner. And there might be some small hail along Interstate 65, Morris, Kimberly, Warrior, north of Gardendale, north of Mount Olive, and then out here toward Trafford and Bradford. But again, the intensities have come way down, and it just doesn't look like it's a severe storm at this point based on hail. So that's the one coming through northern Jefferson. Let's go to the one up north, the one up near Holly Pond. And again, you can see there could be some small hail falling coming into Holly Pond. And again, that's coming into Blount County. Same thing for US 231, Cleveland back up to Bluntsville, then back up towards Sneed, Susan Moore. You might have some small hail here, but it just doesn't look like the storms are severe by classic definition. And again, everything looks good. So we'll stay with this for a little while longer. But again, shortly we're going to do a reset here where we are going to take a break. And for all of us, we've got to kind of get ready for the big show, the big event, which is round 2 coming this afternoon and tonight. And we'll get all of our resources together, and I'll post some updates on the social channels and just try and get everybody up to snuff and ready for what's to come this afternoon and tonight. So round 1 has been very tame for Alabama. No wind damage, no tornadoes, small hail, thunder, lightning, heavy rain, and that's it. And you can see the activity is mainly north of Birmingham. And again, within the line there's got a few warnings because of some small hail. South of Interstate 20, hardly any rain at all. South of Interstate 59, hardly any rain at all. And even over here in places like Fayette, Hamilton, Vernon, Sulligent, Gordy Form, the rain has stopped. Technically, there's a tornado watch for a little while longer this morning, but again, the odds of a tornado are very low based on the atmospheric profiles this morning. There was some damage in Mississippi from one supercell that passed through late last night, early this morning. That storm weakened as it moved into the state of Alabama early this morning, which is certainly a good thing. So again, we'll take a look at our storms. We'll start with the Jefferson County storm. This is a storm that could produce some small hail. And again, this is going to pass a little south of Corner, coming out toward Interstate 65 and US 31 around Morris, Kimberly, and Warrior, and ultimately toward Trafford and Bradford over here in the north part of Jefferson County. Again, the main concern here, small hail. Let's go up north. We'll take a look at our storm in eastern Cullman County. And again, the reflectivity is just not that impressive. There might be some small hail falling up here north of Holly Pond up toward Baileyton. And again, that'll be coming into places like Arab, Bluntsville, northern Blount County. And again, possibly some small hail, but there's just no issues there at all. We don't expect a tornado problem. And again, things are just, if you're going to get through a round of severe storms, this is the way to do it, with no damage, no tornadoes, no major problems other than heavy rain and a whole lot of small hail reports. So Riley, where are you going today? What's your destination?
So I think I-22, up I-22 might be my best bet. I might have to take Thomas to the, I don't even know if that's even open anymore, up Highway 78, Highway 5, Green Top.
It's in Jasper now. They had a big fire.
Oh, yeah. Might have to go just up I-22. You know, the terrain is a little bit more appealing, a little more wide open, less trees, and a lot more rural as well. Because, you know, if any tornado hits this afternoon, it would be nice to just have it over wooded areas and not populated areas. But, yeah, I think I'm going to head up I-22, get in those open fields, see if I can catch something coming out of Mississippi, try to scare it away.
All right. So let's go back to WEX 05. We'll take a look at what's happening Again, fairly small hail. Looks like more security camera doorbell video here. Again, that's really revolutionized things, especially when it comes to things like meteors. The doorbell cameras do a great job of catching weather and other unique events that happen. But again, the lightning is obviously very prominent for a lot of folks early this morning across North Alabama. That was pretty close right there. And again, there's some lightning shots from North Alabama, a little fire in the sky early this morning. That's some of the hail that's been falling, relatively small. Again, that's all under 1 inch in diameter. So again, this is what a lot of folks are dealing with early this morning. So back to the radar, 5:26 Saturday morning. James Spann here with Riley Blackwell, and we've got an area of heavy rain, some thunder, some small hail coming into the US 231 stretch here from Arab down to Bluntsville and Cleveland. It's coming through Holly Pond right now in eastern Cullman County. And again, that'll keep on moving to the east, but the air is pretty stable over here. Hardly any surface-based instability that would prevent any tornado formation. We don't expect any damaging wind, just a lot of rain, thunder, lightning, and some small hail. Let's go down to Jefferson County, and this is the other spot where there might be some small hail, maybe a little larger here, but most likely that's small. That's about to come out across Interstate 65 and US 31. That little hail core is passing about 5 miles south of Corner in northern Jefferson County. Again, that'll be crossing Interstate 65 and US 31 pretty soon. Possibly some small hail. And for the chance of small hail, we've got these warnings. And just kind of watching the chats again, I'm just not seeing any sign of big problems, which is a good thing. Checking the chat from Birmingham. This is a note from Nathan Owen. Nathan is one of the forecasters on duty down there. He says after the storms clear out of the area over the next hour or so, it's several hours quicker than what we had initially anticipated for the clearing, which may lead to quicker destabilization for the afternoon round of storms. And that's the point. We'll get this rain out of here pretty early, and that will allow some time for the atmosphere to recover, and part of the process of setting the stage for a very high-end severe weather event later today and tonight. So again, we'll stay with this for about 10 more minutes, and again, we're going to we'll be ending this stream. And for those watching on the television side, we'll go to our regular programming in about 10, 15 minutes or so.
And the Cullman County severe thunderstorm warning has now been canceled or expired.
Yeah, I think what these guys have done here, they're still going to issue some warnings to the downstream. But again, these storms are just really not severe. I mean, this is very small hail, heavy rain, thunder, and lightning. And I know there's some warnings in here, but I've been doing this a lot. This ain't my first rodeo, and these storms are pretty tame, which is a good thing. We're not expecting tornadoes. We're not damaging winds, just some small hail and heavy rain and thunder and lightning. And again, this cluster coming through northern Blount and Marshall should continue to weaken as it moves northeast. We've got the storm approaching Warrior, and it's the same thing. There might be some small hail, but these are just outflow dominant, really storms that are not severe by classic definition. So that's a good thing. And again, just a few other quick notes as we get into the afternoon. It's going to be rough. I mean, it's going to be a very rough afternoon. And we're going to have a lot of tornado warnings. I have great concern about that. And some of the tornado warnings could wind up being tornado emergencies. And it's going to be an afternoon where we want everybody to treat every tornado warning and tornado emergency with the utmost seriousness. And get your family to a safe place, helmets on, and we've got to get through this with no loss of life. I think the one greatest failure for all of us in the weather enterprise, it's the days where people lose their life because of weather. And we've so much over the years, both physical science, which is what we do, and behavioral science, We're not trained in that, but we have learned a lot from social scientists. And by taking an interdisciplinary approach to this, we could be a lot better and stronger, and I think we are. And we also learned that it takes you to be heavily involved. So between all of us, the goal is to get through this next 24 hours with no loss of life. And again, we think the thing's going to be over by midnight tonight, or maybe 11 o'clock tonight. The window's going to be from about 11 a.m. until midnight for the main round of storms. And again, these are getting out of here pretty quick. And again, these are really, really tame, calm storms here. Maybe some small hail, gusty winds. But as this stuff gets out of here, the door will be open for the air to become more unstable. We might see some sun mid-morning. And then at some point, it's going to go up quick. I mean, we're going to see storms developing very rapidly, about 11 o'clock or 12 noon. And from there, it's going to be nonstop. I mean, it is going to be a very hectic, busy afternoon and night. So just, again, the advice is to please pay close attention to warnings that are issued. Take them seriously. Develop a plan now. And again, on your phone, if you don't have a weather radio, so many stores have sold out, I don't think you can get one. But on your phone, be sure emergency alerts are enabled. Go into settings, notifications, emergency alerts. Turn them on. Turn off the sleep and the do not disturb modes, because sometimes phones kick into those. You don't get notifications. And download our free app, ABC 3340 Weather. That's a good app that pushes the warnings to your phone as well. Between the emergency alerts built into the phone and that app, you should get the warnings. But again, the baselines are weather radio. And in your safe place, helmets for everybody. And again, the stores have pretty much sold out. It's amazing looking at the various pictures of these major big box retailers. There's hardly any helmets left. And that means that people are getting ready for this and they're going to be prepared. And the other thing too, if you live in a mobile home, it's a different situation. You cannot stay in a mobile home during a tornado warning polygon. So what you're going to do is find out the safest shelter, the nearest shelter, or a business that's open 24/7 that can serve as a shelter. Know how to get there fast and arrange for transportation. And that's the hard part. And we'll do our best on the air to give you a little heads up, maybe before a tornado warning. I still think there needs to be an intermediate product between a watch and a warning for those that live in trailers. We need to develop that because it's not realistic to sit in a tornado shelter for 6 hours during a tornado watch, but I think you will sit there for 90 minutes. And for some people, it takes them more than 15 or 20 minutes to get to a shelter or a business. And the average lead time for a tornado warning is about 15 minutes. So those are just some things to think about. So we're going to phase this down. And again, we have thunderstorms that are over North Alabama that might be producing some small hail, heavy rain, thunder, lightning. But again, these storms are really and truly underneath severe limits. Anything else, Riley? Anything we missed here?
I don't think so. Just getting reports of Joppa and Arab. It's getting loud. There might have been an uptick in lightning, but I mean, reflectivity, that's pulling from Birmingham, we'll pull from High Top. Reflectivity still isn't that impressive. It might be a little breezy going through Bluntsville right now, but got to also remember that's shooting fairly far away and fairly high up in the air, but still no signs of any significant rotation. Granted, it might be a little breezy, but Bluntsville, Cleveland, Aniana, Sneed, Susan Moore. It's just a loud thunderstorm at this point. Maybe some small hail, maybe some lightning, loud claps of thunder, but in terms of an overall threat, as it continues to move east, I think it's going to start really starting to calm down.
Let's look at WEXO 5 one more time before we go again. This is going to be some security camera video. This is from Joppa, which is right by Arab. And again, that's what people are dealing with. It's just raining and boom. You get that really wicked flash of lightning from time to time, and the thunder is very loud, but notice there's hardly any wind at all. And if there's any hail, it is very small. And again, for most folks, these are just routine, good old-fashioned thunderstorms. And we're very blessed. Again, one of my concerns was that maybe the morning round would overperform, which has happened before, but it has not. And we are so thankful for that. No damage, no tornadoes, just some hail, loud thunder, lightning, and a lot of rain. And we can deal with that. And the whole thing will be winding down here in the next hour or so. And we're going to get a pretty good lull during the morning between about 6, 7 o'clock and 11 o'clock. That's going to give you a 4-hour window this morning to get some things done. And then after 11 o'clock and 12 noon today, it's going to ramp up really, really, really quick. Let's go back one more time to a WEXO 5. I had to show this. We got a lot of dogs watching us, Riley. You know, or maybe this guy might be sound asleep. I don't know. I mean,
I just love animals. Now, I just love
and I will say, you know, I've not seen any cat pictures. Normally, cats like me, and they like you, I think.
yeah, I have 3 cats at home.
Yeah, we have cats here at the TV station, but the dog, I think we put that dog to sleep. So anyway, so back to the radar. And again, we're going to wind this down. And again, there is absolutely no concern for any of these storms up and through here other than thunder, lightning, and some small hail. If anything happens to change, we'll come back. I don't think that's going to happen, but understand this will give us a chance to get our act together for this afternoon and this evening. So we've been on the air for, I don't know, a long time, and but we're going to make preps now for this afternoon, this evening. You do the same. Make your preparations now for this afternoon, this evening. Check out that safe place. You might want to go through your plan with your family, especially if you have young children. Some know that I teach children in schools every day. I would be a 3rd grade science teacher if I didn't do this for a living. That would be a dream job. 3rd graders are the greatest. 3rd graders, they are just great. They understand sarcasm. They think you're funny. They've got cognition to learn middle school level science. They're sweet. They don't smell bad yet. That's what you want to teach is 3rd grade. But I deal with a lot of young children, and on Sundays I do that at church. And I think it's good to talk to them about a day like this because it can be scary for a child. But I think the more that they understand about the day, the better off they'll be if you have to put a helmet on them in the middle of a storm later today or tonight. And just let them know that it's going to be okay. But you have to do some things to stay safe. And you might want to talk with your kids, kind of go through the plan, do a little practice, if you will. And that way, if the real thing happens, then they'll be ready for that, and it won't be too concerning for them. So one more time, let's pop up the high risk, and we'll show the severe weather outlook for the rest of today and tonight. This is a rare level 5 out of 5 for most of Alabama and Mississippi. And for those that are not in the level 5 out of 5, it's a level 4 out of 5. And the window you see here, 11 a.m. to midnight. That's a long time. That's 13 hours, but that's the way it is. During that 13-hour window, there could be storms with large hail, very large hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes. And again, based on the forecast profile of the atmosphere, there could be a few damaging, violent, long-track tornadoes. And again, we might have some tornado emergencies issued during this event. So get the warnings, have the plan, rehearse the plan, and I promise we'll get through this thing together just fine. So at this point, we're going to wrap up this live stream. Thank you guys for watching. We will be back when the second round begins later this morning. We'll talk soon. Thanks for watching.